This is Music Relish Podcast.
Hello and welcome to Music Relish Podcast. This is episode 17, maybe?
I think it is. Yep.
All right. My name is Lou, and I'm with my friends and co-hosts Perry and Mark, and it is Halloween weekend. Happy Halloween.
Well, hello there.
Hello.
Bonjour,
Hello.
¿cómo está?
Bonjour. Before we begin, I'd like to mention that if you want to hear us in other formats besides this, you can hear us on Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Podchaser, Pocket Cast, Overcast. We're on YouTube, so you can look at us. And if you like us, subscribe. Subscribe if you feel like it. We won't send you anything. It won't bother you. And we're also on Facebook, where Mark posts the music that we cannot play in length here because of copyright laws. But you can see it there on Facebook, on the Music Relish Podcast
Facebook jail yet.
We're not in Facebook jail yet, so we are free men, all of us.
Yes.
Under one.
God bless America. So what's happening, Lou?
Not much, man. This is welcome to another Sunday night. Another Sunday night. We got some stuff to talk about tonight.
We do.
A bunch of stuff,
yes,
right?
We do.
We always do. Yep. We were talking about some debut albums that we like, or
some notable debut albums. Yep.
Notable debut albums. Yep. Mine are at the end of my list of extensive notes here.
Yeah. Anybody want to kick off this category? Notable or memorable debut albums?
I nominate Mark Smith.
All right. Okay. Now, my notable debut albums. My notable debut albums are ones I personally like, but if there's a couple that I'm not crazy about, but I'll just say they were big debut albums. So I'm going to go with my first will be, sorry guys, Zebra. I think it's their best album, and it is a notable debut album.
We actually reviewed that album a couple of weeks ago, didn't we?
Yep.
Yeah,
we did. Yep.
And
it's a good record. It's a really good record.
Yep.
It's a fine one.
Stands the test of time.
Okay.
So who's next?
Up? Lou, you're up.
I got one. Another record that we reviewed recently last week, and it's the debut album by the Dream Academy.
Yeah.
I think it took us all by surprise.
Yes.
Yeah. Great record.
Absolutely did.
Yes. Yeah. Much to our edification and delight. Because I was expecting something like, okay, great hit single, some nice stuff, but no, good stuff. So, 2 good albums in a row.
Yeah. I think a great debut album is the Go-Go's, Beauty and the Beat. It's a great debut album. A lot of hit singles on there. It's a fun record. And I think Jack Calabrese would agree with me. I don't know about Scott McClain, but Jack agrees.
Do you know the year that came out? Early 80s.
81, possibly.
81,
something
82,
like that.
81?
Yeah.
Okay.
Peak MTV time. Yeah. Yep.
Wow, guys, I was still in elementary school when that came out. I was in Zion Lutheran School. Sorry, just had to do an
Westwood, New Jersey. Westwood, New Jersey.
Yeah.
Yep.
Where we've all lived. Mark, did you ever live in Westwood?
Yes, I lived in Westwood for years.
Next door to where I lived.
That's how I met Perry.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's how you guys met.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was the weird neighbor.
Yeah, locals used to call it Wastewood.
When I was in high school, we took the Don Bosco bus. We used to dread driving through Westwood because the hooligans would bombard us with ice balls going down wherever the Baskin Robbins was there. So one day we armed ourselves. So we fought back. It was like a old war movie. So we had boxes of ice balls ready to go. So when we went by Westwood, that area, that we bombarded them back, and they were not expected. It was a surprise retaliation attack by the underdog.
Yeah, well, private high school, so who knows?
Westwood.
Yeah, I was told never to ride my bike through that town, but I did, and I was fine. All right.
Now I think who's up, man? How about Black Sabbath's debut album, 1970? That is a great debut album.
tearing it off my list,
Is
Perry.
is it called Black Sabbath?
I think it's just called Black Sabbath. Mark,
Yes.
can you verify that?
Yes, it's Black Sabbath.
It's just
And
called
got
Black
a
Sabbath?
pretty creepy cover, too.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Yep.
Yep.
Yep. Pretty scary cover, but
I still think about 1969. There was a lot of weird music out, all right, but I don't just imagine hearing that opening song, Black Sabbath, in 1969. What the hell? You know?
That was the same year had Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. So you had that right.
Yep. Who's up? Me?
yeah.
I got one.
Oh, Lou.
Is it?
Yeah.
I think we skipped.
Yeah, you.
Okay.
Yeah.
REM's debut album, Murmur.
Ooh, yeah.
Alternative indie rock classic. I wonder how that ranks in indie. You could look it up, but indie rock, alternative rock debut albums. Because there's classic rock, and I looked up some debut albums of all time, and there's a whole bunch of stuff in there from the modern day too. But anyway, so
Don't know.
on a personal level, REM's first record was a beauty. It's a beauty.
Absolutely.
It's a gem.
Yeah. It's a gem.
I would go so fast. I can't think of anything I can criticize about it that is not petty. So it's almost maybe a perfect record.
It just seems like one of those records where you can just drop the needle and just let it go, and every song is moving.
And I think even songs that you might not, you always like some things more than others. The ones that you may not like as much, there's something great about them, or just interesting.
Yeah. It's an emotional record too. It's an emotional record, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
And we're going to circle back to REM's Murmur in a little bit too.
Okay.
Right.
For other reasons, Chris. Yeah.
How about you, Marky Mark?
I'm going to go with Marky Mark and the Funk Bunch. No, actually, I'm going to go with Hootie and the Blowfish.
Great
I'm
record.
just joking. I'm going to go with Ozzy Osbourne's debut album because it was monumental in that the guy was washed up and he should have been dead by that point. And he came out with such a definitive statement. That album is still today, to this day, those songs are known by so many people.
Is that the Blizzard of Oz?
Yes. So it has Crazy Train, Mr. Crowley, I Don't Know. I like that in the second one.
Does it have Goodbye to Romance on it?
Yes.
Okay. Now the original is one of the shittiest sounding recordings of all time.
I know.
but it was recorded onto a Walkman, wasn't it? No.
It's funny if you listen to it. Everything about it sucks except Randy's guitars. And what they did was they had all his cabinets down in the basement, and they lowered a mic down, and he was playing up in the control room because he was just blasting. So the guitars sound great, and he double tracked everything. So even those intricate solos, he would play over them, It's just amazing that he could do that, like this fast picking and just do it twice, But yeah, otherwise the drums sound bad on that album. They really do.
Yeah. Do you know, is that the reason why they re-recorded certain parts with Robert Trujillo from Metallica?
No. That was a business decision by his manager, Sharon, because the original album, everything was split 4 ways. So Randy's gone. So Randy died.
Right.
So she decided to re-record the album and release it, the first 2 albums, so she wouldn't have to pay Lee Kerslake and Bob Daisley royalties. Wow. And Lee Kerslake, in the final year of his life, was begging Sharon and Ozzy, give me a gold record. I'm not looking for money now. I just want to be remembered for what I did, right? They coughed up the gold record, and they got shamed into putting the original release back out there. It just didn't sound right.
I think we talked about that a couple of weeks ago on the show, right?
Yeah.
I've got one. It's one of the greatest records ever made. Ever.
A great way, not only a debut album, but one of the greatest records ever made.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh my God! Who the hell cares?
It sounds like me.
You're setting yourself up.
It's Big Star, #1 record. It is one of the greatest. These guys created indie rock. Big Star. The album's called #1 record. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And it's fabulous. I'm going to choose it, in fact, the next time around when it comes to for
Definitely
me to select the record. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. The biggest influence on was Replacements for Paul Westerberg.
Oh man,
he wrote the song.
That's nothing compared to like Cheap Trick and everyone else who was influenced by
the '70s show.
Yeah. Yep.
Wasn't the '70s show theme from that album? Or
Yeah,
it was recorded by
Cheap
Cheap
Trick.
Trick. Yeah.
Cheap Trick does that. That's a song by that Alex Chilton wrote. Yep.
Hmm.
What's going down, man? Who's up?
Lou.
This is one of my most revered bands of all time. And from what I understand, Mark, you were told not to mention this one. It is the band Music from Big Pink, their debut album, 1968.
1968.
I thought you were going to
Music
mention
from
another
Big
band.
Pink, right?
A Blue Oyster Cult? Of course I'm going to.
No,
Wait,
don't.
No.
Don't.
It's a good album. It's
Well,
worth mentioning.
Oh my
It's-
God!
it is
Who the hell cares?
I care.
I care. Blue Oyster Cult's debut album is a great and acclaimed debut
We
album.
reviewed it
But that's
here.
not
Yeah,
where-
we reviewed it. Yeah.
That's right, we did.
Yeah, we reviewed Zebra, too.
Music from Big Pink. You know, it was a critical darling.
Yeah.
It came out at a time when that record wasn't expected. You know, it wasn't a huge seller, but it was respectable.
I thought you were
But a
talking
lot of
about
people-
Big Pink.
I am
Oh,
Big Pink. It came out in 1968.
yes.
At the time, it was almost controversial because it was the departure from all the heyday of the rock festival type music.
So
the
what kind of
psychedelia.
songs are on Music from Big Pink?
It's a mixture. It's country soul. It's been encapsulated in
What is it?
it's
Cripple
country
Creek?
soul.
Cripple Creek is on there?
No. It's got Tears of Rage, the Bob Dylan and
Mhm.
Richard Manuel composition. It's got The Wait. The classic is The Wait.
The Way,
The
yeah.
Robertson pen, yeah.
Ooh, that's a
Lee Von
biggie.
Helm's song.
Yeah, yeah.
That is the big song about the impossibility of sainthood. We Can Talk. They did a lot of call and response vocals.
Mhm.
Richard Manuel sang the majority of the songs on it. Levine was late to the fold at that point. He just rejoined the band before they made that record. Rick Danko has a couple great songs on it. This Wheel's on Fire, he co-wrote with Bob Dylan. And also Rick Danko sang, I don't know who did the original, but Long Black Veil.
Mhm.
They did a cover of that.
Yep.
And there's they called it the Rock Festival, the early 70s Rock Festival classic, I Shall Be Released.
Yeah,
Dylan
yeah.
song. What else is on there? Chest Fever. With that
Was
Oh, yeah, with that Lowry
opening by-
organ. Yeah, yep.
by what I think is rock and roll's greatest keyboardist, Garth Hudson. And yeah, so it's an eclectic album. It's kind of country. There's rock in there too. Robbie Robertson sings one of his few lead vocals on a song called "The Kingdom Come," which is the second song on the record. And Mark, yeah, we go.
Well,
But
Mr. Smith
yeah,
went away.
Right. It's not their best record, but it's a debut record. It got a lot of attention. I think that was a record that made Eric Clapton want to quit Cream and ask him to join.
Well,
Or
it's funny you say that
It started
because
that whole.
my choice was going to be Fresh Cream, 1966, their debut album.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny, as new as Cream were, by the time they were getting started, he wanted out anyway. Yeah, Clapton just saw a different
They
way.
were there in 66, 67, and 68. They were done.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
3
60,
years.
they were done.
Yeah.
Big impact though.
How
but,
about the Pretenders' first album?
Yeah,
That's a notable debut album.
it really
Yeah.
is. It really is. And,
Yep.
and the timing was good on that too. That I call that post disco, early punk stuff where it's like rock had some revitalization. The late 70s.
Yeah.
Stuff. Even Fleetwood Mac. The Rumors album 77. It's California soft rock, and it's great. But there was something else. There was no edge to it. Even really, you think about it. It's very West Coast.
What?
But the Pretenders were their kind of English, kind of American.
Oh, yeah. But Rumors was like their 13th album. Fleetwood.
Overall, yeah.
Yeah.
That was the first with Stevie and Lindsay, correct?
No. There was an album called the album
that's
prior
right,
to that where Mick Fleetwood has the dangling balls and Stevie Nicks is on the cover with him.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
It's got Yeah.
Monday morning, you sure look. That's on the record. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
That was prior to Rumors. Yep.
How about Smithereens? How about Smithereens' first record?
Yeah. Wow. That's been a long time since I've even heard that. What's
Yeah.
on the Smithereens debut album? Do you know?
Behind
we both had the
got,
records, man. They were.
Yeah, we both did.
Yeah.
It's got the big song was "Blood and Roses," their first big single.
Yeah, that's right.
Um,
Yep. Blood and
it-
Roses.
Yeah.
Yep.
For those, the Smithereens, if you might know them from their later hits, they were a New Jersey-based band from Central Jersey, I guess.
Yeah, yep.
Middle Jersey. But they had some national hits. That's led by the late great Pat DiNizio.
Yeah, yep.
Cigarette, watch the smoke line.
I'm a fan of the Clash's debut album. Well, I'm a fan of the Clash, but their debut album was a good one too. And the Cars. Yeah.
Yeah. Roy Thomas Baker's drum production aside, that was a big record.
That had a lot of big hits, though, that first Cars record. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, of course, Elliot Easton is the guy. How about Led Zeppelin's first record?
Was that a success when it first came out? I think it was
critically. Well, the critics never liked, any of them. So
they never did. In retrospect, they do.
Right.
But that was an impact. That definitely came out. Even some of these there's always one-hit wonder records too, like Iron Butterfly. Around the same time, Ingrata DeVita.
Television, Marquee Moon. That's one of my favorite records. That's their debut album.
Yep. One of the biggest in the pre-punk days was Patti Smith's Horses.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So I don't know where Mark is.
A lot of these are considered classic records too.
Yeah. Like I don't care about the critics, whether the critics liked Led Zeppelin or Black Sabbath. No, critics hated Black Sabbath, but I had the record.
They hated Van Halen too, I think.
Yeah. Yep. What about? You have any more debut albums? Notable.
That's kind of it for me.
Yeah, same with me. Mark's temporarily away, so. So
it must be Sunday night.
It must be Sunday night. Yeah.
When it's Sunday night, there is internet problem.
Yeah. Do you know who was nominated for the Rock and Roll? No. Who's going to go and be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Pat Benatar. Let's see. I'm good. I'm glad about that.
I am too. But I think that someone mentioned that they didn't write a lot of their hits. They did covers.
They did not.
They didn't write.
I mentioned it to you. They're like most of the songs were covers. Yeah.
Yeah.
You Better Run is a cover.
The Rascals.
The Rascals.
Yeah.
Then they covered a lot of their stuff was covers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So is the criteria for nomination into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Is it just your contribution to music? Does the fact that you're not the author of some things?
Well, it's Rolling Stone, so sales has a lot to do with with that.
Yeah.
Duran Duran's being inducted. I'm glad about that. Okay. Also,
I would never have said that 20 years ago. I would not.
Probably
have said that.
not. I wouldn't have either. I would have said screw those guys, right?
I've come to realize, and having seen some documentaries, they're serious musicians. That whole period. Given our age, that was almost teeny bop. It was teeny bopper in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
It was marketed toward us. So my younger sister was a big Duran Duran fan. So I'm like, all right, it's a catchy song.
And Dolly Parton is going to be inducted. She originally said, don't induct me, but then she changed her mind, and she's going to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. The Rolling Stone Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
The Rolling Stone, the Jan Vennerving of the Rock and Roll. Now, she's probably already in the Grand Ole Opry and the Country Music Hall of Fame already, I would think.
Yeah, I'm sure. Hey, she's got Dollywood.
I'd be shocked if she wasn't.
She's got Dollywood.
Dolly, come on. You can't deny her. She doesn't need it.
The next inductee, I don't know, man. Eminem.
Impact.
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
Scott McLean would disagree because he doesn't like his style. I'm not a rap authority.
I don't think he. Well, I shouldn't say anything, but Eurythmics are going to be inducted, and I'm glad about that as well.
I am too.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Lionel Richie.
Having listening back to some of that.
Yeah, heck yeah, man.
Eurythmics. It was a different kind of thing going on. And Dave Stewart.
Dave Stewart.
As a producer was done like cool.
Yeah, and Lionel Richie.
I thought he might have been in already.
I always thought he was in too, but
is he in as a solo? Were the Commodores put in first because he was in the Commodores?
I don't know.
Okay,
but he's one of those like adult contemporary guys, with those soft ballads, that he became. Hey, cool. Carly Simon's going to be inducted.
For what?
For what? Because,
For what?
well, they put
Anticipation?
Carole King in, so they have to put somebody in like that, I suppose. You know? Maybe Rolling Stones has a deal with Simon and Schuster. I don't know.
Carole King's on a whole other level. Going back to the Brill Building.
Yeah.
Carly Simon, did she write "You're So Vain"? Did she write "Anticipation"?
Yeah, Carly Simon's a songwriter.
She's not rock and roll though.
She was folk. She had the Simon Sisters. They were a folk trio. And you know who else is getting in?
Bird.
Jimmy Iovine. As a producer or whatever. Yeah.
A big, yeah. He's also, not only is he a producer, he's he's an executive in there. He's like Irving Azoff. Irving Azoff, besides being probably the most powerful man in show business, is he was also the CFO or CEO of Ticketmaster at one point.
Yeah, Jimmy, and didn't he start that record label, Interscope? Wasn't that him?
I don't know.
I think he started Interscope Records. Right. And so anyway, those people are going to be inducted. I mean, Kate Bush was nominated, but she wasn't going to get the votes to no. Judas Priest. Judas Priest is in.
She will get in next time, I bet.
Kate Bush?
Kate Bush, yeah. Yeah, this next bout.
I'm sure she doesn't really give a shit about it either way,
And Judas Priest got in, but they got in with some weird kind of.
They got in as a I don't know what the category was, but it wasn't because of it's because of their staying power.
It wasn't heavy metal. It wasn't heavy metal.
Yeah, I don't know, but
crap. That's bullshit. They were huge. That's one of the first heavy metal bands I remember people talking about.
This is and there's a couple of, I think they let in an old blues person or an old blues singer or something like that, but how about the people who have been snubbed by this so-called rock and roll hall of shame? I think that's the way, that's the way they claim it, Scott McLean may have dubbed it that, but
the Hall of Shame.
The Hall of Shame, yeah. So
the Hall of Popularity.
Of course, as you keep mentioning.
The Hall of Inside Club or something.
America. What? God. I mean, they've been eligible
Infamia
for decades now.
Of course they have. They started in 1972. Yeah.
Yeah. And what is the problem?
My theory, we were talking about this before. My theory is that they weren't rock and roll. They're in that category of AM, almost middle of the road in a lot of ways. I mean,
so what?
A lot of people, exactly. But so was Neil Diamond.
I think they're in that weird. They had an impact,
right? Well, I mentioned the correlation between them and Seals and Crofts were of that same soft rock, California rock, West Coast genre. They were played on the same radio stations. They had tons of hits. Excellent musicianship, great songs, but are they in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Are bands like that pushed to the side because they're not either edgy enough? They were never considered cool.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's just like, for instance, Foreigner.
They weren't the cool kids from Brooklyn.
Foreigner's not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
They should.
They've been eligible for a long time now.
I think that they have select good songs. I'm not a fan, so to speak. But I think they should be for what they were. I mean, like I said, in a period of time, I mean...
Yeah. Lou Graham says it's politics, that there's somebody on the voting committee that just doesn't like Foreigner or something.
I would think so. It's like a little inside club grudge match, maybe.
Yeah.
Can we mention the word elitist? Has it become that elitist?
Yeah. Well, here's another snub.
Where
Frampton.
Has he been nominated?
Yeah, you're eligible after 25 years. I mean, this guy...
Well, there's eligible. Okay, so there's eligible, but was he ever nominated?
Who would not nominate Peter Frampton? It's amazing. Like, who are these people?
Yeah.
ELO.
Are you serious?
Yeah, one of the greatest pop hit machines that there ever was. Jeff Lynne, right?
And influential, important, everlasting. Are you kidding me?
Yep.
Wow.
I mean, come on with this Hall of Fame bullshit, Here's another one that Mark would appreciate. Kansas.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Kansas has been snubbed by the
Snub.
Cock and Bull Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
How about the
Wow.
next one? Three Dog Night. Seriously?
Really?
Seriously?
They should have been in years ago.
They should have been
decades ago, maybe.
They should have
decades
been in
ago.
10 years ago.
Wow.
It's unbelievable.
You know something, Perry? That's a band I've come to appreciate more later in life than I did then. But check it out. They're in that same AM radio milieu that America is in, and Seals and Crofts. They weren't big rocks. They weren't cool. You know what I mean? Like great songs. That's an interesting thing.
Yeah.
That's bullshit.
Well, but the categories that they come up with, perform like, oh, please, here, Jethro Tull, not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Jethro Tull.
Scott McLean would agree with that, but whether you like the music aside or not, yeah, they were up there with all the other classic 70s rock bands. They were also very different. They're in the rock and roll circus, the Rolling Stones rock and roll circus.
Yeah, yep. Here's another one.
I like them to a point, but I still think those records were influential and important.
Yeah, and it was Tony Iommi playing guitar with Jethro Tull and that, but Jethro Tull.
Yeah.
But that was pre-recorded. They were playing to a backing track on that one. Yeah, a couple of them played to a backing track. Marion Faithfull played to the backing track. Jethro Tull played to a backing track.
Did Michael Lindsay Hogg, the guy that directed Let It Be?
He did. He did direct.
He directed
movie.
that. Yep. I think that's what got him the gig with Let It Be.
Maybe.
Okay.
Here's another one. Grand Funk Railroad. Not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
I'm ambivalent about them, but they should be in.
Yeah, I mean, come on, man. Carly Simon
they're not in because
foreigners.
Probably so. Grand Funk's not in because of politics. That's definitely political. And I think it might be because of Mark Foreigner's politics.
What do I give a shit whether he's conservative or liberal? I don't care about that. You're supposed to judge him by the music. You can't let his politics get in the way of that. That's Jan Werner. That guy's a jerk off, man.
By virtue of that, is Ted Nugent in?
Right. Here's another group, but my ears ringing.
I don't know if he's. But before we do that, the only good thing Ted Nugent has done is, the only good song he's ever been on is that I've heard.
Yeah, that swirly song, the garage.
Run along if you can. Yep. The Amboy Dukes.
Yeah. Here's another group that's not in. If you would believe this, Lou, Bad Company. Dude, Carly Simon. Bad Company.
Bad Company.
What is going on with this Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Sheryl Crow will get in before they do.
She'll be in next year. Next year.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I bet you $1 because there was a documentary about her.
Yeah. Bad Company's not in.
Boston.
Wait, not only is Bad Company not in, but the fact that Paul Rogers and Simon Kirke go back to Free.
They're back to
that was
Free.
Free inducted.
Yeah, yep.
Now, Free is inducted. They had one song. I'm sorry. Free had one fucking song.
They had one smash hit.
But that's all anyone really.
So they're in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They're in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Free.
I'm not sure, but I'm saying if Free is in, then why isn't Bad Company?
Yeah,
because Paul Rogers and Simon Kirke
I don't think
are.
Free probably isn't in there.
But wow,
here's another one. Boston. I mean, I'm not a Boston fan, but they had smash hits, man.
They had smash hits.
Holy shit!
I would say the Boston record is probably the biggest record of my high school year.
Yeah,
yours too.
The spaceship record, right? Yep.
Yeah, I didn't have it. The spaceship guitar. I didn't have it, but I mean,
everybody had that record.
I've never been a fan of them. That's an ambivalent band for me. I didn't like the sound.
Neither did I. As far as the guitar sound, he's a one-trick pony. It's that sound. Like I appreciate guitar players who every song sounds different. But that was the time. Did the smoking, more than a feel. I mean, these are memorable hits. They
Let me take you home tonight.
Yeah, they can take you back to the 70s, man.
Oh yeah.
Here's another one.
But they're not in. But
they're not in. Neither is Styx.
They shouldn't be.
And well, I'm not a fan, but I'm saying these are big bands, man.
Put them in. Put them in.
Yeah.
How about REO Speedwagon?
Yeah, I would like to see them all there with Dennis DeYoung too.
Yeah. Oh, sure. Yeah. Unfortunately, John Panazzo is not there anymore. He passed away.
He left this earth. Yeah.
The original drummer. He died on the eve of of one of their tours they were going to do in '97. 97 and 98. Styx were making a comeback, and John Panazzo just.
And
that should be part of our series now that Mark seems to be back.
Mark is back, and I have one more who've been snubbed from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Wait a minute.
Toto.
John Panazzo. Wait, we should talk about John Panazzo when we talk about
Styx,
because it's sad. So you said Toto's not in.
Toto is not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Screw him. They shouldn't be in.
Look, guys, tonight.
Hey, Mark.
Hey, welcome back.
Yeah.
Or I'm welcome back.
Toto should be in.
Is Led Zeppelin,
you know my favorite Toto song
in
is?
the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Yeah.
My three favorite Toto songs.
Yeah.
Hold the Line. And You Supply the Life, babe. I heard that song.
That's a pop song. Yeah.
It is a pop song.
Yeah.
And 99. I never knew that was Toto.
Song.
How does that go?
Yeah. 99. Woo woo. It's a 99.
Don't remember
It's very
that.
catchy. It's soulful, kind of like blue-eyed soul, kind of late 70s production, I think, early 80s, but very kind of slick, but really good.
From their second album,
Really good.
Hydra.
Their second
So,
album.
Mark, let me give you a brief recap of what we were doing. We were talking about bands that have been snubbed from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Foreigner. America. Frampton.
Jethro Tull.
Frampton.
You're correct.
ELO.
Wow.
Yellow. America? You said America, right?
America. Kansas.
Oh, when you say a prog band, I get pissed.
Yeah. Three Dog Night. Here's another one. Jethro Tull.
Three Dog Night.
Jethro Tull.
Yeah.
Jethro Tull.
ELO really gets me because they're rock royalty.
Yeah.
I mean,
They are.
Yeah.
They are.
Perry, what did John Lennon say about
royalty.
ELO? He said something like if Beatles stayed.
He said ELO picked up where the Beatles left off.
That's it. Yeah.
Yep.
There's so many.
Bad Company.
That is such bullshit. Bad Company. Yep.
Boston.
Yep.
Styx and Toto, not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Hootie and the Blowfish.
Well, no comment there.
We are going to circle back. We're going to circle back to Hootie.
Oh my God! Who the hell cares?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Hootie and Blowfish are going to get mentioned later on tonight.
Uh-oh.
They are?
That's the second band. That's the second band's going to get mentioned later.
That's the only band I can use to prove to Perry that not everything is fabulous, in my opinion. Like, there's bands I don't like, honestly.
Well, Mark, since you just got back, you want to go into some supergroup?
Yeah. Prog fans love supergroups. Yeah.
Prog musicians like supergroup. They keep doing it.
Yeah. And we should just define for anyone that may not a supergroup is basically notable artists from other bands that get together.
Yep.
And form a group. And it doesn't have to be famous people. It could just be notable artists that,
Yeah.
So Perry,
give
since
me
it was your idea, you want to go with one?
supergroup. You roll, Mark. You roll with it. Yeah.
You want to do one?
In German, it's called Übergroup.
I'm going to go with a 90s supergroup or maybe 2000s. Debatable. I think they're all good musicians. Do you remember a group called the Thorns?
Nope.
It was Matthew Sweet, Pete Droge, and Sean Mullins. And they covered Blue from the Jayhawks. But it's a great album, and I consider that to be a supergroup. Maybe not a world-famous supergroup, but three notable musicians.
Indie supergroup.
Yeah, there you go.
Sean Mullins, what was his big hit?
Oh. Sing it.
Rockabye.
Yeah.
Yeah. She was at a party with someone, and Cher. Oh, rockabye. it was one of those acoustic guitar, almost blues, acoustic blues with a hip hop beat to it.
Yeah.
Not like Everlast.
Yep. But when they did Blue, I didn't know about the Jayhawks. So I thought it was their song. And I'm like, this song's I couldn't stop playing it, Then Perry gets me into the Jayhawks. I'm like, oh, they did it. So I didn't do a prog as my first supergroup. So next
All
one,
right.
maybe.
Got another one?
Me? Yeah. I'm going to go with one of the most well-known supergroups that actually was popular, and that's Asia. You had John Wetton from UK and
He was from what? King Crimson?
King Crimson, yeah. Steve Howe from Yes. Carl Palmer from Emerson, Lake and Palmer. And Jeff Downs, who had maybe 2 years away from the Buggles, Video Killed the Radio Star. I said Radio Star. Did you hear that? And and also toured with Yes. He played on the Drama album. Now, that was a supergroup that said, we're just going to make popular songs. And they did it, and they were very successful. That was also one of the bigger debut albums, too.
Yeah.
Cool.
All over MTV, too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Who would have thought that you'd see Steve Howe and Carl Palmer all over MTV? That's amazing.
Yeah. True.
Have you got a supergroup, Lou?
Yeah, there's a whole bunch. I'm going to mention Rock and Roll Snubs. Bad Company.
Bad Company's a supergroup, right? Because there were a couple of guys from Free.
You had Paul Rogers and Simon Kirke from Free.
Right.
Boz Burrell from King Crimson.
Yeah.
And Mick Ralphs from
Mata Hoople. Yeah.
I would like to think he had to be rescued from Mata Hoople.
So, yeah, technically, Bad Company is a supergroup who made but they came into their own. They made a lot of records.
They sure did. Now, they were on Zeppelin's Swan Song records, right?
Yep. Peter Grant managed them.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, if you Can't Get Enough of Your Love, I mean, that is a big song. That is as big a song as almost as big as All Right Now.
Yeah.
As far as that.
Like I said, his drumsticks always went over his head every time. Simon
theater,
Kirke.
man. It's a theater mock show, man.
Yeah. Yep.
But they did. They had a whole bunch of hits, a whole bunch of records and stuff. And Paul Rogers is still one of the greatest rock and roll singers. Whatever you think, a lot of people didn't like Bad Company. They were not a critic's favorite, which is probably one of the reasons why they're not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Shame. The critics didn't love them.
I'm sorry, but I started laughing because I thought
You're
of Lou.
okay? You're okay,
no, I
dude?
thought of you with your drumsticks over your head.
I thought he was
at the Asheville Guitar Bar.
I learned everything I know. Simon Kirke taught me everything I know.
And he's also paying tribute to our listeners in Germany, too.
Mock show, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Our listener in Germany.
How about Blind Faith? They're a supergroup, right?
Yeah.
Yes, they were.
With
who was in Blind Faith?
Ginger Baker. Ginger Baker was the drummer, correct?
Yes.
Yes, he
Little
was.
Stevie Winwood.
Yep.
Little Stevie Winwood.
Eric Clapton.
And
either I don't know if it's Ricky Gretsch or Felix Pappalardi.
Rick Gretsch.
Ricky Gretsch. Yeah.
Ricky Gretsch. Yeah.
Yep.
There was a one-album supergroup.
Yeah.
One album. Yeah.
Did
We have a category in the future bands who just did one record, or artists who just did one record. Yeah.
I listened to the Blind Faith record last week, and it's good, but it's interesting. It could have been more.
Yeah.
I find it interesting how Ginger Baker managed to fit into that band.
Yeah. Yep.
And he wasn't supposed to be in it.
Yeah, Eric wasn't too happy about it.
With the
he just got out of Cream. Yeah.
But with the Hammond B3 organ too, that's a different little
sure.
feel there.
But if you think about Traffic with Steve Winwood, and Jim Capaldi was a different drummer. The fact that Ginger Baker managed, if you listen like Sea of Joy, all these songs, Ginger Baker just did what Ginger Baker did, but he was so good at what he did that he made all that stuff. And it's just amazing.
Yeah.
That alone.
Well, speaking of that, Cream, wasn't Cream a supergroup?
Kind of.
Yeah.
They were. Clapton was, Ginger Baker wasn't known before that. Only in the music circles, that there's jazz and blues bands that they play with.
Clapton played
probably
Yardbirds
the
and the Blues Breakers, right?
Eric Clapton was God, So.
I think they were the first power trio.
Yeah, power trio. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so the Traveling Wilburys are a supergroup.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah.
Huge. That might be the biggest.
They're like a supergroup before they were a supergroup, just because of their reputations. And the fact that they let Jeff Lynne be in that band because, having never been nominated in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, he's only he only produced Cloud Nine and Tom Petty and all that. Whatever little shit he did.
He should be in. He should be in as a songwriter, as a leader of ELO, as a producer.
Yeah.
He should be in for all those things. Yeah.
As a singer.
But Jan Werner or Jan Wemmer, whatever his friggin' name is, that guy.
You just don't
Dean
like him.
Wormer.
I don't like him because he lets politics.
call him any names here, Perry.
Get in the way of music.
Yeah.
And he shouldn't be doing that, man. He's a.
What the fuck is Tom Hanks doing on the board?
All right, I got a supergroup.
I don't know. Come on, all right.
I got a jazz supergroup for you guys.
Whoa.
Foreplay. It had Bob James on keyboards. Bob James, if you don't know him, he wrote the theme to Taxi, but it wasn't written for the TV show. It's from an album called Sports. Lee Ritenour, who we all know on guitar. We played with Steely Dan.
There's a jazzy guy, right?
Yeah. Nathan East on bass. Nathan's journeyman bassist. Played with Eric Clapton. It was. And the drummer was Harvey Mason, who basically was just one of these jazz guys. Played with George Benson, Herbie Hancock, and Bob James. And they were an excellent band. It's a little bit of smoother jazz, but very good music. I have all their albums.
A jazz band.
Jazz supergroup.
A little curveball there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you threw me. The only other one I can come up with is Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. They were a supergroup, right?
Yeah, that's right.
All known in their own right, and other bands, Birds, Hollies, right? And yep.
They were put together as like a big. Asia was like a big supergroup. They were meant to be. I think the term supergroup may not have been invented back then.
I don't think so either. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But the fact that they came from the Birds, like I said, the Birds, Buffalo Springfield, and which is enough, Buffalo Springfield's a band that is underrated as far as their influence.
I've heard that
they're
from
in the
many
Rock and
people.
Roll.
I think so too.
I do too. Yeah. I think they're in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
I don't know.
How about Emerson, Lake and Palmer, guys? They were really a supergroup. Yeah, Keith Emerson from the Nice.
I wouldn't know that because
At the time, you had Greg Lake, who had just had a big hit with Court of the Crimson King.
Oh, and he was in King Crimson. Yeah.
Keith Emerson and Carl Palmer was well known as a drummer. He was in the Crazy World of Arthur Brown. They had a big hit with Fire.
He played drums on that?
Yeah.
No, he didn't play drums on the single. He played on the video.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh.
Yeah.
I got schooled by Lou.
Wow.
My pleasure, son.
I'm out of supergroups, guys, so you guys are going
to
have to carry
a couple
the
more. Do you have any, Lou?
I got to, let's hear. I got to.
You guys roll with it.
I got it. Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'll go. Derek and the Dominoes.
Yeah.
You have God. You have God on guitar. No, he's not God. The legendary session player Jim Gordon.
Yeah.
Wrecking. He's like a junior member, satellite member of the Wrecking Crew. A story unto himself.
Bobby Whitlock.
Well, he was well known with the Rolling Stones and just being a session guy. And Carl Radle, the same thing. But Dwayne Allman of the Allman Brothers, that was on slide guitar and guitar. So that was a super group.
But he wasn't in the band, Dwayne Allman.
He wanted to join.
He was not in the band, though. Yeah, but when they appeared on television on the Johnny Cash show, Dwayne Allman wasn't there. He just appeared on the record.
He's on the record, but he's part of the record because of who he was.
Yep.
But that was when they did a live album, but I think that was it. That was it for Derek and the Dominoes. But
I heard he wanted to join Derek and the Dominoes. He really did want to, but you have obligations. You're with the Allman Brothers, and they said, you're not going to do that.
Yeah, the Allman Brothers were riding at that point, 71.
They were.
Yeah.
They were riding high. Everybody had their records, man.
Yeah.
Yep.
What you got, Mark?
Okay, I've got. Let's move it up to a little more modern age, the 2000s. Chickenfoot. You ever hear them?
Yeah.
Sammy Hagar.
Joe Satriani on guitar. Michael Anthony
on the bass.
And Will Smith. Will Smith. Chad
Smith.
Will Ferrell.
Will Ferrell.
Chad Smith on drums. Very good rock and roll. Just no BS rock and roll. I love their albums.
I've seen them on TV playing somewhere. Like, yeah, man, they're loud, they're raucous. Yep.
Yeah.
I did know it was Joe Satriani.
Yeah, and it's the only time Joe played with a group. He's never done that before in his career.
Seth Hagar, that guy can sing, man. You know?
Yeah, he can.
Yeah.
He was a far better singer than David Lee Roth. You know?
I like Van Halen's Hagar years. That's my personal. But I've been crucified for it many times. I think they had better songs.
Well, it's not. Calling him Van Hagar is not.
As they went on,
it's not an insult. I mean, it's just.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things about the early Van Halen is that I think, if you look at his songwriting from that period, the early period, there's a handful of great songs, and they're all on Fair Warning.
Fair Warning is my favorite Van Halen album.
It's the best. It is the best Van Halen record.
Yeah.
I can't believe that the songs were considered not good enough. But Mean Streets, put some horns on that song.
Yeah.
You could do a rockin' big band rockin' arrangement of that. Yeah. But those album cuts are great. I Don't Want to Hear About It Later is one of my favorite Van Halen songs.
But and then his playing on that album, the noodling, that's the album that convinced me that he really was influenced by Alan Holdsworth. He's got some real almost jazzy fusion-y playing if you listen.
Yeah.
That's what I love about the album. And it's a shame, man. Whenever Eddie got his way, guess what? The album wouldn't do good. So then Diver Down comes out with more of it covers and originals, Right.
But I bet you that record is every musician's favorite record.
Yeah. Eddie Trunk's show, he was doing top your favorite Van Halen albums, and he would ask, "Are you a musician?" Overwhelmingly, people that were musicians said Fair Warning. Non-musicians, it was like 1984 or Women and Children first, but they're all good. Yeah, they're all good albums.
Yeah, they are. But 1984 is not the best record.
No. That was the first time I heard Van Halen songs that I skipped over.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
It's like it just said Drop Dead Legs. Come on. And the sound, the production's atrocious. Atrocious.
I agree. When the record came out, I said, I don't like the production on the drums on Panama.
Yeah.
I like the song, but it does not sound like Alex Van Halen's drum kit. That's not his snare drum. It's mushy. It's muddy.
Compressed. Yeah.
It's amazing how that got out. I mean,
and then after that, they did 5150, which had the same sound. Something changed.
Yeah.
But the first album up to Fair Warning, if you really turn those albums loud, they have very good fidelity, very good drum sounds.
Yeah.
Diver Down was a little thin, but it still sounded good.
Yeah. You're right.
Yeah.
You mentioned the first two records. The drum sounds are really good.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Another underrated drummer because of his brother.
Yeah. That's true.
He got all the attention. But Alex, I tell people, I said, he's a big band jazz hard rock drummer.
Mm-hmm. And
very unusual.
And if anyone listens to Fair Warning, take down the right speaker, listen to just the left speaker, you're going to hear Eddie and Alex without Michael. If you listen to the right speaker, it's Alex with Michael. So if you like bass and drums, you'd like the right speaker. Yeah. But that's what the Van Halen brothers, they would just jam together, writing songs without a bass player. So
but they're not a super group. Van Halen's not a super group.
No. We were just talking about an album.
Okay.
If you take the song Sinner Swing, and Alex Van Halen's drumming, it's very jazzy.
Yeah.
Very odd. Yeah.
Yep. So
Perry's back.
I'm just going to finish my thing with 3 because there's a connection. There's 3 rock/progressive supergroups that kind of fed into each other, and they all have one member that was the same. Now, supergroups do not have to be like Asia, right? A ton of people knew about, in the prog world, a supergroup is musicians that everyone holds in high esteem. So you have a band called Transatlantic. Mike Portney of Dream Theater on drums. Pete Trawavis, I cannot say his name, the bass player from Marillion. Roy Stolt, the guitar player and singer from the Flower Kings. And Neil Morse from a band called Spock's Beard. And they do 30-minute songs. Perry, you could go shopping in the time of their songs, and come back and wash your dirty clothes and come back, still be on.
Prog metal, right?
Yeah. That fed into, kind of morphed into a band called Flying Colors with Mike Portnoy and Neil Morse again. But this time with Steve Morse on guitar from the Dixie Dregs and Deep Purple.
Kansas.
And Dave LaRue on bass from the Dixie Dregs. So that was an interesting, and they've put out about 4 albums. They still get back together and record. And then Mike Portnoy, this is all Portnoy. Band called the Winery Dogs. Winery Dogs are Mike Portnoy.
Of them.
power
I've heard
trio.
of that
I've heard
group.
of
Yeah.
Yeah.
Billy Sheehan on bass from Talus and David Lee Roth. And Richie Kotzen, who any guitar player knows him. He's just one of these guys that did a lot of guitar albums. But he also had a brief tenure in Poison, and he got one of the band members' girlfriends to cheat with him. When you do that, you're out of the band. So whatever.
Right.
He's a great singer. And if you guys ever just want to hear no bullshit rock and roll, listen to the first Winery Dogs. Great written songs. It's really good. Richie Kotzen has a very bluesy voice. For a guy that came about in the 80s with all the shredding and everything, he's morphed into more of a bluesy guitar player and singer. So, yeah, those are three. And it's Mike Portney loves supergroups. So what you got?
Well, okay.
Prog supergroup. I got one called BLT.
Yeah. I know them.
It's not what you think, of course. It is Jack Bruce, Bill Loudon or something from and Robin Trower. I just like it because it was BLT.
BLT,
I mean, didn't think it was the first album like a sandwich.
Yeah, it was. I have it.
Yeah. Do you have it? Is it in your album reveal? I hope so.
No, not
Could
today. No.
Can you make it one? Do you have it? Wait, why don't you tell me about it, Mark?
It was. Hey,
What year was it? Please.
78, maybe. It was the 70s.
Okay.
I'm thinking 78.
Was it a one and done? Was it one album?
No, they think they did a second. Not that the first
did.
one was really successful, but I think the second one really went nowhere. And then Trower and Bruce did a bunch of albums together. Like they did.
That's right.
Yeah. So, Lou, I can't believe you didn't have any country supergroups on there. You guys missed one big one, unless you have it.
Oh, the Highwaymen?
There you
The
go.
Highwaymen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Johnny
Yeah.
Cash, Chris Christopherson, Willie Nelson, and Waylon Jennings. But do you ever hear of Old Dogs?
No.
Waylon Jennings, Mel Tillis, Bobby Bear, and Jerry Reed. And they have some albums out. Yeah.
Okay. That's a supergroup. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Jerry Reed, is he the guy that's in the movies also? He does.
Yeah.
movies.
Well,
He
he's
like Smokey
passed
the Bandit.
away. He's gone, Jerry Reed. But yeah, he's
Okay.
a great guitar player. And had his own,
Smoke.
had some songs of his own out there and recorded many records. Wrote a couple songs that Elvis recorded. Yep.
And he was in Smokey and the Bandit.
And he was the, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
There's
then,
a couple to mention here.
yeah, go ahead.
What?
There was one
Damn
supergroup
Yankees.
that never recorded. Did you ever hear of the best?
No.
They tried to record, but they did tour. It was Keith Emerson, John Entwistle, Joe Walsh, Jeff Skunk Baxter, and Simon Phillips on drums. And I have the VHS of that.
Wow.
And
You
they
do? Yeah.
toured. They had a singer that nobody knew of. And they would, for the tour, they just did, they would do each they would do a Steely Dan song. They would do an ELP song.
But
They
if
went in the
didn't
studio
record,
and tried.
There's really no documentation of it.
Oh,
other
yeah,
than,
there is.
you
It's
know.
DVD out. It's official.
Oh,
They were a group.
Then, well, then it's okay. Well, then
Yeah.
it's documentation.
Fighting the
Yep.
rules.
All right,
And
well, are we done?
I
What's
heard-
happening here? Lou, you have more?
No, we're not done. I got one more maybe. I heard Pete Townsend's "Give Blood" on the radio the other day.
Uh-huh.
That's Simon Phillips on drums.
Yeah.
He's amazing.
He is. And I've seen
He
him.
was the perfect replacement for Keith Moon because he could play, but he was much more disciplined, much more. Keith Moon was a one of a kind wild card, but
Yeah.
Simon Phillips had that, but he had the discipline. Because the drums in that song is amazing.
And I'm thinking, I think I saw him like multiple times. I saw him 2 times with The Who, and I seen him at least 6 times with Toto. Yeah, so he's fabulous. Fabulous.
So, and how about a couple more super groups? We got Damn Yankees,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Temple of the Dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going hungry. Bad English. John Waite from the Babies. Neil Schon and Jonathan Cain from Journey. The Power Station. Robert Palmer
Oh,
and
yeah.
Duran
Yeah,
Boys.
A couple of Durans. Yep.
Right. And Paul Rogers had a couple. The Firm. He had the.
Yep.
Yeah.
Radioactive. Yep. I'm radioactive.
And the band, the band that had Chris Cornell and then the guys from Rage Against the Machine. That was, damn, I'm forgetting their name.
I don't know.
I give up.
I don't know. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Lou's frozen up.
It's a bad night for me and Lou.
All All right. So you mentioned somebody singing blues before, right?
Yeah. Who did I mention?
Can you identify this blues singer for me?
Okay.
Okay. You know, that's Midnight Special, right?
You just slowed down the Creedence album.
That's exactly what it is. Somebody on the internet slowed down Creedence, and it sounds like someone else. Yep.
I was joking. I was saying, but
that's exactly what it was. You picked up on it. Yeah.
That's freaking fabulous.
Yeah. We lost Lou. He's
going to come back. He's going to come back.
We got to search for him.
Were you searching for me?
No, we're searching for Lou.
Yeah, you didn't search for me. I was out at sea. I was on a raft.
Lou, we're looking for you.
Do we see him yet? We'll find him.
Not yet.
He'll be back quicker than I was. I love my cable company, by the way. They give me the best internet. I just wanted to say that.
So, I've got. Did you hear about that movie with? It was called Studio 666. It's a Foo Fighter movie.
I got it. Haven't watched it yet, but I got it.
It's self-indulgent, but it's kind of funny. You know, Taylor Hawkins is there, and they're all there. And there was this, fiendish book, and Dave Grohl was taken over by some devilish character, and it was like a funny little thing, and I don't know who wrote it or whatever, but it was a little self-indulgent, and why not?
Why not?
They're the
exactly.
Foo Fighters, right?
Yeah. They can. Yeah. They really can do what they want at this moment. They can play with Paul McCartney. They can play with anybody they want. They can call anybody. So they're at the top. And even with the unfortunate passing of Taylor, they're still big.
Now, did Rush have a song called "Roll the Bones"? Like, is that a marijuana song?
No, it's about taking chances. It's on the album "Roll the Bones." And
I hear "Roll the Bones." I'm thinking, it's a marijuana song, right?
No, but no, it's Dice. But it's the only Rush song with a rap in the middle.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
There's a rap in there, really?
Yeah, Jack, relax.
We're searching for Lou's
some
signal
gluteus
again.
max. Yeah. It's a nerdy rap, but it's good. Lou, where are you, Lou?
In that movie, The Big Lebowski.
Gotta wash my dirty undies.
Do you remember the group that he hated? The dude hated?
No, you got me.
He hated the Eagles. The dude.
Well, I hate White Russians, and the dude drank White Russians, so there you go.
Let me see if I think I have a little thing here about somebody I want to talk about.
And when he drank the White Russians, it would get on his mustache. I hated that.
Here, this little thing here.
Over the line.
Oh.
Yeah, but
I balked for a moment, but I'll go all night if you want me to. Just throw money. Throw money. Ready? I decided right now I'm changing the name of the album to Throw Money. Okay?
That's Todd Rundgren, Something Anything. That came out 50 years ago, 1972.
Wow.
Yeah. 50
One of my favorite albums.
It's a long record. I mean, there's a lot of gibberish on there, and that was a little bit of gibberish, but he was the studio whiz, before Prince. He was the studio whiz guy.
Yeah.
And
was that his first album?
No, he was in that group, the Nas, I think they were called, and
but I'm talking about solo. Was that his first solo album? Do you know?
Oh, I don't know. It may very well have been. Yeah, but he was up at he became the engineer at Beersville.
Mm-hmm.
Up there, and so you know what? While we're waiting for Lou, do you want to go into some overrated guitar players?
Yeah, I want to hear yours.
I don't have too many of them. There's a couple of guitar players that I think are really overrated.
I'm going to say a couple that I really like, so it's kind of heresy. Like, I love their music, but I think I don't know. As a guitar player, it's hard for me to say a guitarist is overrated because I'm not that good. But then again, when people say it just as a back thing on that, when you get the guy that comes at you, oh, he's the best. He's the best. That's what makes you think a guitar player is overrated.
Yeah. Yep.
Give me one.
I think the guy from Grand Funk Railroad is way, way overrated, Mark Farner.
Good point.
I recently saw them on some festival from 1970 or whatever. And, of course, they're dragging out the songs, with the bass going boom, 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 boom. And he's just playing around it. And he's really overrated because every riff he plays it twice. Then he goes to another riff. He plays that twice. Then he goes to another riff. He plays that twice. So in other words, he's an overrated guitar player, in my opinion. Mark Farner from Grand Funk Railroad.
Good point.
I'm not, you know what I mean? He's just, when you gauge guitar players, he's not one of the better ones. They had some great songs. I'm not saying anything against that. I'm just saying, like, I saw him at a festival, and you know what? He wasn't that good. Very predictable. Everything he did was predictable.
Yeah.
Mark Farner, Grand Funk Railroad. Yep.
Well,
who do you think is overrated?
It's going to kill me to say because I like this band. I love them. You're not fond of them too much, but I am. And I love his songs that he's written, but I think Brian May, without all the effects, he's kind of a pedestrian guitar player.
I absolutely agree with you.
Yeah.
Absolutely agree. First off, it's that one guitar sound.
Yeah.
With me, except on that song where he played a telly on this crazy little thing called Love. That was, he actually had a reverby, Fender sound on that.
Yeah.
But you're right. It's all like the guy from Boston. It's all one sound on every song. And
I have a lot of concert DVDs from Queen and I watch him and he actually is a very stiff soloist. And I'm too. So I'm not saying, but he had, like, if you see him when they were on Saturday Night Live back in the 80s and they played Crazy Little Thing Called Love and he does the first half of the song with the Telecaster, he's trying to do that solo and he did it, but it was very, very stiff, there was not much feeling. And I don't think he has the feeling thing down. He's he's a scientist. So
in the studio, fabulous, but it's always that one sound. And I heard that he plays with a British coin instead of a guitar pick.
Yeah.
He uses a British coin, right?
Yep.
Sixpence or whatever it was.
And from the first album up to their last album, two things remained the same: his guitar sound and his hair never changed. So,
you know who I think's an overrated guitar player? Ted Nugent.
Yep. Come on, 4 frets is a lot, man.
I've seen Ted Nugent, and he just, he stays within his 5 frets.
Yeah.
And that's it. Granted, I know he knows the scales. Excuse me, I'm not used to talking so much.
Well, you heard me crap up before. Don't talk about the drumsticks, please. I start laughing when I hear that.
So, Ted Nugent, I think, is overrated. Great, great tone. I'm not saying anything about his guitar tone.
He has a great command of feedback.
Great tone. And I've seen him live, so I know that. But even then, even when I was a teenager and I saw him, I thought, he's not that good, man. He's just not that good. It looks flashy, but he's here. He's doing his scales right here. He never goes anywhere else except right where he is.
Yep.
He won't
That's his
go
comfort
here.
zone.
Jimmy Page will go here, and then he'll go here, and then he'll go here. Ted Nugent won't do that. He'll just stay, key of A, and then he's going to do his riff there. It sounds great. What I'm saying is I think he's an overrated guitar player.
I think his biggest talent, he used to play the hollow body back in the 70s. He would be able to go on stage, and this is the 70s when you had the amps cranked behind you and not feedback. That's pretty cool. That's, you plug a hollow body.
That's what they say about those hollow bodies. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, it leads into who I'm going to give an overrated guitar player, and I'm going to say George Thorogood. And just like Ted Nugent, when you're drinking and you're drunk, oh, this is good stuff. Or if you're not a guitar player, like people that don't play guitar, they're like, this is really good. But, George Thorogood is just, he slide, and he does a good slide, but he's an open tuning from what I understand.
It's an open E, and believe me, I've played a guitar in open E, and I can do all that George Thorogood stuff. Anyone can do it. Yep. Open E is the easiest open tuning to play in, and that's what George Thorogood is. Mm-hmm. He does the Hank Williams song in open E. He does all that stuff in open E. Yeah.
Yep. And if I hear Bad to the Bone one more time, if I'm driving, I'm going to go into a telephone pole. I can't take that song.
Now, here's the guy I think is overrated, too, is the guy Slash. Now, I know he's a great guy and all that stuff and, a lot of charitable work. I'm just saying I'm not a fan of his overall tone. And I've seen him. I've seen him in, Guns N' Roses. I've seen him in the, the Snake Pit, or was he in the Velvet Revolver, or, groups like that. And, I think he's an overrated guitar player, Slash.
He's got that really nice tone for soloing. He definitely has the tone, the silky tone.
Yeah.
Not breaking any new ground, though. I don't even think he would think he broke new ground. By the way, I love to tear apart someone that says they're the best. And just to go real quick back to Ted Nugent, I remember he was in studio on Imus's show, and I was watching it when it was on MSNBC. Yeah. And he's sitting there going, I'm the best guitar player in the world. Now, if Slash said, I'm the best guitar player, I'd be like, oh, shut up. I don't like people that say that. Nobody
the top
is
hat off of his head. Yeah. If he said that. Yeah. Yep.
But you're right. I mean, he if he didn't hit it so big with Guns N' Roses, he'd be considered a good guitar player, but he's like an icon because he was in Guns N' Roses and the top hat and the black leather jacket. That's his image. So
you're right. He's just got that image. Yep.
Yeah.
How do you feel about this guy from Metallica, Kirk Hammett?
I'll give you my opinion. Oh, we got him back. He's back.
Can we hear him?
Lou?
What do you think about Kirk Hammett? You think he's overrated?
I'm going to say I'm disappointed in him as a guitar player because just like Steve Vai, he studied with Joe Satriani.
Yeah.
He should be more of a virtuoso. Personally, I find his solos to be a little less than stellar. I don't think I can play his solos. And I hear, I just, it works for Metallica, but I'm surprised that they have him. He loves the wah-wah.
So here's the thing, too. Like, I have no Metallica records. Never had a Metallica record. I don't to this day. Probably never will. But I love these rock docs that I see. I'm with Scott McClain on this one. Like, I love rock docs, man. I've seen documentaries on Metallica. I like them. I like watching this shit,
Yeah, yeah.
And so, I've seen a lot of Kirk Hammett. And I think he's a bit overrated. They sound great. They're a great band. I love, but I think he's a little overrated.
And again, he probably would be the last one to say he's some fabulous, great guitar player. But one thing I'll give him, he's the steady guy in the band. So when you watch Some Kind of Monster where everyone has their issues and they're running off, Kirk's like, whenever we record, I'm there. So he's probably the most stable guy in that band.
Yeah. He's out surfing or something. Yeah.
Yep. Surfing.
Yeah. How about, who else do you think is overrated?
I'm going to go with Andy Summers. And I'm not saying that tons of people say he's a great guitarist, but I do know people that say, oh, he's an awesome guitarist. I think he's a better songwriter than a guitarist. I have a couple of his solo albums, but if you take away the effects, he's just playing basic stuff, Yeah. But I think, again, he was made overrated by people, not himself. He would, like I said, he's the last guy in the world that would ever say I'm a great guitarist, But I was always, because I look at guitar players, so whether it's the Police, a pop band, or a funk band, I want that guitar player to move me. Like the Isley Brothers, that was good guitar playing,
Yeah.
Police, So with the Police, for me, kind of. Yeah, it's that 80s sound, that chorusy sound. And then you just hit a C chord and you sound great.
How about this dude, Zach Wilde?
Microphone.
How about this dude, Zach Wilde?
I like Zach. I don't think he's overrated, in my opinion. He's got a very unique guitar sound. When he first hit it with Ozzy, that first album, I went, whoa, something about his sound.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't call him the best guitarist in the world. He's got a great chunky rhythm. And he also surprised me is he's got that Southern rock thing down. Like he was with Ozzy. I thought he was a great, like heavy metal. Then he started playing like, jamming with Skinner. And I was like, whoa, this guy's got the chops. And he's from New Jersey too. Go figure.
Oh, is he from New Jersey?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
But that's one of the heaviest guitar sounds. If you listen to No Rest for the Wicked, the first album he did with Ozzy, it just hits you like a ball. I like him. I'm not going to tell you he's the best guitarist in the world. If someone says that, then he's overrating him.
How about if I play for you a couple of these riffs that I think were borrowed from other songs?
Okay.
All right. Now,
Whoa.
we've talked about this in the past on the old show, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's some that are like, for instance, this one right now. We've discussed this before on the old show and about Nirvana borrowing this riff from Killing Joke, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now that's a borrowed riff.
That's huge borrowed riff.
That riff was
big.
borrowed from Yep. Now I've got another one here, and this will not be. I'll just have to forward to the part that I need.
I'm shocked that Nirvana didn't get sued.
Well, maybe I'm not sure how that worked out, but maybe.
What you got?
Now this one. Now you'll know what it was borrowed from.
Get me now, I'm calling you.
Right.
Get me now, I'm calling you.
But that's borrowed from the Rolling Stones.
Am I back?
You're back.
You're back.
That's
with a
borrowed from the Rolling Stones. Jumpin' Jack Flash.
Jumpin'
Right?
Jack Flash.
Good
Yeah.
point.
Yep.
Yeah.
What have I missed? What have I missed?
You didn't miss. All you did was you
I missed a lot. Don't tell me.
We sent out the radar to look for you. We were looking for you.
They didn't find me.
No, we searched though. We had radar searching for you.
We were talking about overrated.
We talked
guitars.
about a couple overrated guitar players. I threw in the guy from Grand Funk Railroad, Mark Farner, as overrated.
Was Mark Farner considered a great guitarist?
No, not to me. He wasn't.
Okay.
I know people that do consider him like the biggest guitarist of the 70s. I don't know why. I never even
really.
When I hear Grand Funk, I don't notice the guitar. Doesn't mean, you know what I mean? Like if you're the best guitarist, you're going to notice the guitar. So
okay.
Yeah. But like I was telling Mark, I saw a festival from 1970, and Grand Funk was like the headliner there. So of course they're just dragging out the songs, with Mel Satcher, boom, 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 boom. And like now, Mark Farner's not that good. He's way overrated, man. Way overrated. Yeah.
Is he overrated as Eric Clapton?
Well, you'll always get an argument there. Yeah.
I'm
not saying he's not great or effortless or worthy of his place in rock history, but overrated, I would say, yeah.
Well, let's just say, did he ever equal the heights of Cream after Cream?
No.
So I also said Ted Nugent was overrated, but that's my. So anyway, we moved on to we moved on to borrowed riffs. So you just heard that one the Kinks borrowed, Jumpin' Jack Flash, right?
Yeah.
Now here's one. We've spoken about this. We covered this on the old show, by the way, too. And this one is
Misunderstanding.
Yep.
Woo!
They even took the
this is
piano.
going.
They even took the piano sound from there, right? Didn't they?
Yeah.
I mean, really.
It's nicely borrowed. Yeah.
Now I've got one here. I don't know how you guys feel about this, but I've read that U2 borrowed their riff for Gloria from Public Image Limited. Public Image Limited was a great band. They were a really good band. So let me play this riff, and you'll see if you recognize anything borrowed by U2. Some people think that U2 lifted that riff from "I Will Follow" from.
Really?
Yeah,
It's similar.
I have to hear it again. But I don't know.
Yeah, and of course
A much lower key, I think, too. I will follow. Maybe more rhythmically than, say, I don't know, melodically. I don't know.
Well, this is the only other one you missed, Lou. Is Nirvana taking this riff from Killing Joke?
That's blatant.
Yeah.
Wow.
That is.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a rip.
Yeah,
Hey,
that was.
I got one for you.
What do you got?
Oh, go ahead. Play that.
No, I'm looking for something else.
Okay. Listen to this, all right?
Is that you playing?
What song
you
does that
playing?
sound like? No.
Metallica.
Yeah, that's Excel tapping into the emotional
Sandman.
void. It came out before Enter Sandman.
Okay.
I've heard that. I've read that. I couldn't find it, but I heard that the lift for Enter Sandman was borrowed. Yeah.
Yep. So you don't know if they gave him a ton of money. You just don't know. Yeah.
How about this riff here? Does this sound familiar to you?
There's a town I know where the hipsters go called
Bedrock.
Twitch,
Grizz.
When you get an itch, then you do the twitch in Bedrock. Twitch.
Right?
Rock is gonna roll.
Rock roll. Borrowed that riff from Chuck Berry, didn't he?
Okay.
All right.
That's
Hey,
a great
Barry?
song, by the way.
Yeah.
Place I know.
In honor of you, because you were asking me about this the other day, here's our all-time favorite. All right.
Oh, that's the one where you found it. Good. That's the Portuguese Brazilian jazz lady, right? Who Richie Blackmore borrowed "Smoke on the Water" from them.
Yeah.
Right?
It's like you think, did he take it or is it just a coincidence? Now, "Smoke on the Water" is a riff you could easily just stumble on guitar, but that's uncanny.
Yeah.
Was that artist Gilberto? Is that it?
Yes. Astrud Gilberto. Quiet
Astrid
Maria.
Gilberto. Right.
But it's "Smoke on the Water." That's the "Smoke on the Water" riff.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was cool. I didn't know we were doing barred riffs. You guys didn't tell me.
Perry told me tonight.
I mentioned it, and it was just a small category. In fact, I think we're done.
Well,
like
look,
it.
guys, I'm not going to play anything, but
I would like to hear more. You got more?
Do you have more?
well, listen to Radiohead "Creep" and then listen to the Hollies "The Air That I Breathe."
Yeah,
yeah, well, I've heard that too.
Yeah.
And there was lawsuits, and then there was another one where Lana Del Rey borrowed the. So there's like cross lawsuits. I mean,
Yeah.
And then a lot of people
go ahead.
bring up Green Day.
I think "Summer of Sadness" might have been the song that she had.
Green Day borrowed a lot.
Well, they say Brain Stew, they ripped off 25 or 6 to 4. I don't consider it a rip off, but it's definitely the same chords.
We on our old radio show we covered those because I was playing them on my laptop.
Shh, you missed it. I'm rehashing. You're not supposed to tell anybody.
Yeah. This is redux.
Mate, Mark, apparently the lost episodes of Music Brothers podcast still exist out somewhere. You just have to find them.
There's
if you
a
want to
boot.
find them, they're out there. They're on telephones.
They're out there. Yeah.
They're
We were
really
in
out there.
We were in soup cans. We were fucking out there.
So I got to say that Lou, while you were out, I was asking Mark in the movie The Big Lebowski. Remember the band that the dude hated so much?
The Eagles.
He hated the Eagles. Yep. And I was asking Mark if that Rush song "Roll the Bones" was about marijuana, and he says no.
No, it's not.
And I told Perry about the rap in it.
On the rap, was that Neil Peart on the rap?
I thought it was, but then I found out it was Oh, it might be Getty with a voice thing. Somebody else.
really?
I always thought it sounds
Okay.
like Neil. It really
I
does. But
I thought it was him. I can
when
almost
you-
hear him doing it.
when you rap and you say gluteus max in a rap, you assume it's Neil Peart. You know?
Absolutely.
Oh, by the way, I have to say bravo to Jackson Brown. Because
Or-
on our last episode, I played the guitar solo for Jesse Ed Davis on Dr. My Eyes,
Yeah.
and we had a copyright claim on it, loading it up to YouTube.
Okay.
And so I clicked on it, and it said, look here for more information. And it said, the copyright owner allows you to play it on YouTube. So Jackson Brown, you're a good guy, man. You
Oh,
know?
wow. Cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. All
Yep.
right.
So, we didn't get blocked, but it
Yeah.
did say the owner allows you play the song on YouTube. Yep.
Okay.
So Jackson
Now,
Brown, you're a good guy. Yeah.
And our good friend from formerly of Knoxville, Satminder Singh, recently listened to For Every Man, and he was saying what a great record he thought it was. And I told him, I said, that's really like the only Jackson Brown record I like in entirety.
Yeah.
But that's cool to know that he did that, and I hope
Yep.
Jesse A. Davis's
Because
family
he owns his
gets money for
copyrights.
that guitar solo royalty.
He owns his copyrights. So he
Yeah.
does. Yeah. And I also mentioned while you were out, excuse me,
Ooh,
I need a drink.
Frankie Five Angels over here. I was in the olive oil business with his father.
that's what happened to me when you told
I'm
about
doing
Simon
too much
Kirk.
talking. It's 50 years since this album came out.
Do I do that? Do I do it?
Todd
Do I raise
Rundgren,
my
Something
hands on my head?
Anything.
Awesome
Yeah.
album.
50
Awesome
years.
album.
So there's a
Oh.
tribute album out for that, and it's called Someone Anyone, where all of these other artists do Todd Rundgren songs from the album
Oh,
Something
wow.
Anything. Yeah, Yep.
That's funny. That's great.
yeah.
Wow.
It's called
In fact,
Someone
really-
Anyone. Yep.
My next album suggestion review is produced by Todd Rundgren.
Oh,
So there.
It could be one of many albums.
Cool.
He's produced a
And
lot.
Well-
things, yeah.
I think we should roll on to some one-hit wonders.
One hit wonders. I love one hit wonders.
So
My
let
favorite
me
part of the show.
I have a couple of bars to play. See if you
Okay.
guys can guess what it is.
Hold on.
He's getting the notebook out, Perry. He's getting the notebook out.
He's getting the
Volume 2 of the Music Relish Podcast Notebook.
And I'm getting my mini guitar out. Here it is, okay?
There you
All
go.
right, here we go. All right.
Little guitar, sing for me.
I'm waiting. I'm putting it away.
Okay, here's my intro on my one-hit wonder. Okay.
Okay.
My name is Michael. I have a nickel.
Nope.
No, it's not.
I've
It's
never
not-
heard that.
I got. Oh my! I can't.
You stumped Lou?
The name, I think he might have.
I got him. Laura, I'm going to let it play a little bit more.
Okay, I'm going to get fireworks out.
Oliver, Larry, Blibby, Bobby, and Blooby. I got it.
Blitty blah bloopy. That's one of my cringeworthy songs, but it's a
It is
one-hit
one of your
wonder.
cringeworthy.
Yeah.
I got it on the
Bleep,
second
bloopy.
beat.
No, actually, he's a two-hit wonder. And you know what the other hit was? Gene,
You're
you're young and alive. That was the other
Wow.
Oliver, though. He's a two-hit
Okay.
wonder. Yeah.
So
Okay.
his name was Oliver?
Oliver. Yeah. Yep.
And what was the
his
name of that
professional
song?
name.
The name of the song, Good Morning Starshine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, in parentheses, they say Blibby, Bob, and Blooby.
Blitty blah
Perry,
bloopy. Like
I had
that
to-
was
I had
that
to-
was a cringe word. Like I go like this when I used to hear that song. I go like I clench a fist.
This morning at today's Sunday service, I'm walking in for rehearsal, and our visiting keyboardist is going da 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 da. I went. I said Blibby, Bob, and Blooby, Blibby, Bob, and Blooby, and she goes, "What the hell is that?" I said, "It's Oliver." So there you go.
You didn't
Yeah.
stump Lou.
It-
You didn't stump Lou.
He only
Good
that's a
morning.
half. It's a half stump. I'm not.
Well, what do you
that's
mean?
a half stump.
I've
I
been
need to
called
hear
a half
more.
stump many times in my life.
I need to hear more of it, but I didn't get it initially. I need to. No, I got it. I'm underrating myself.
You win.
I have no self-esteem. I'm just. I don't know. I'm going to go home.
Have you got a one-hit wonder, Lou?
I do. Now, this one, it's a combination thing. It's a combo platter. So you get a biscuit with this one. And it is a song from 1966. It is a one-hit wonder. It's well-known.
Yeah.
Well-known. It's been covered. It has been covered. Now, I've got it queued up. I just hope it works. 1966.
Get through the ads.
Goes something like that.
I have no idea.
Really? Seriously?
Can you put the red line back and start it over again?
No. Here.
Everybody get on your feet. You make me nervous when you're in your seat.
Nope.
Take off your shoes.
Who's that? Pat Boone?
We're doing a dance that can't be beat. Barefoot.
Oh, barefooting. Who is that barefooting?
By Robert Parker, not the wine reviewer, not the well-known, world-renowned wine reviewer.
Who likes Yellowtail?
He likes Big Jim. He likes big wines. Anyway, that's Mark. Don't distract me. Come on, man. That's Barefoot. Robert Parker, 1966. Is on NOLA Records. He's from New Orleans. New Orleans. There you go. Produced by this guy named Wardell Quizerquay. Apparently, he's a well-known behind-the-scenes orchestrator of a lot of the New Orleans sound with Bobby Charles, Alan Toussaint, etc. So that was his only hit, and it was a number 7 Billboard Hot 100, number 2 on the U.S. Hot.
Uh-oh.
Oh, Mark.
Nope, he's back. Anyway.
No, he's not back because I saw a little warning warning diamond on top. I forgot about this one.
What's that?
With the borrowed riffs.
Yeah.
Now, apparently, Heart opened up for Nazareth way back when.
I'm here. Wait, am I back?
You're back.
You're back.
Okay. So I left off number 2. I'll say this cautiously. Number 2 on the U.S. Hot R&B singles. 11 Cashbox Top 100. Number 7. Most importantly, 7 in Canada. So it was never.
What, barefooting?
It was number 7 in Canada.
So let me play this riff. No.
You're all, no. Okay.
Let me play this riff that Hart borrowed.
Yeah.
Took from Nazareth, and apparently Nazareth was pissed.
Oh boy.
Really pissed.
It's the Halloween jinx.
Oh, okay.
It's Halloween.
I'll play that riff.
The barefoot.
So I was just going to play. I was just going to play a riff. One riff I forgot that Hart had taken from Nazareth, and Nazareth was pissed because Hart opened up for Nazareth.
Okay, but
and they took this riff from them. Okay. It goes like this.
Okay. Barracuda.
They were pissed. Apparently Nazareth was fucking pissed.
I kind of like
Hart opened up
better.
for them, and they said, "You took our riff." And who's the guitar player? Ann Wilson or Nancy? I don't know.
Nancy. Well, it was a guy. Actually, it was a guy.
They opened up for Nazareth, and they took. And Nazareth was pissed off about it too.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
I like Barracuda.
Yeah.
So that was a good one. Barefootin', 1966. Yeah.
But now also that artist Robert Parker, he played with a bunch of New Orleans musicians. One of them was a guy named Ernie K. Doe. You know what Ernie K. Doe's one-hit wonder also was? That's a good one. Mother-in-law. Mother-in-law. Oh,
yeah.
Satan ought to be her name. To me, they're one and the same. Great song. It's such a great put on. I liken that to Bruce Springsteen's "There's Sherry." Sherry Darling, when he's talking about his mother in the back seat. You better tell her to shut up. I'm going to drop her off on the corner. Mother-in-law.
I've got a one-hit wonder, and it's just there's nothing to hide here. I just got to play a few seconds of it.
Southern California.
Lou got it.
Albert Hammond.
This song is fantastic.
Yes, it is.
It's a Wrecking Crew, by the way.
That's Hal Blaine on drums. I know that.
That's the Wrecking Crew.
Yeah.
Playing everything behind him. Yeah, Albert Hammond. Yeah.
I've told you, but before we knew that, I told you I love the sound of this drum kit.
Everything is
I love the sound of it.
The bass is fantastic.
Yeah.
Yes, Mark, I said fantastic. I said fabulous, fantastic. Everything is perfect about
He's
that
Mr.
song.
Fabulous. You're Mr. Fantastic.
But the way they produced records back then, where it's always like violin touches, like on the second verse, you hear some violins in there.
Right.
Like that's the way like Lenny Waronker and those guys produced records back then. But that's the Wrecking Crew playing behind him on that.
So the artist
right.
is Albert Hammond.
Albert Hammond. Yeah.
And the name of the song is?
His son is like in the, what's that group? His son is
his son's in the Strokes. He's Albert Hammond
Strokes,
Jr.
Yeah.
Strokes.
But what's the name of that song?
It doesn't rain in Southern California.
It never rains in California or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
that song is just perfect.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
It just amazes me that whenever I heard that as a kid, and even now, I was so the drums just stand out in such a great way. They're so perfectly appropriate, and they sound so great.
And the bass, bass.
If you ever see, there's a version. If you see like a video of Albert Hammond doing it, he's playing it, but he does this thing when Hal Blaine does the drums. He goes, he hits himself in the chest whenever Hal Blaine hits a tom tom on that break part. It's a weird little quirky, but I know.
So he was lip syncing like an American Bandstand or something, right?
No, he was playing the song, but he was so in tune with Hal Blaine was playing that, and Hal Blaine does this weird. I think it's just an interesting little one hit on a tom tom that is just so genius appropriate. Albert Hammond knew it and hits himself in the chest whenever Hal Blaine does that. It's like a thing, like it's an acknowledgement. I look at it.
Yeah.
But that song, that's geekery, but that song's perfect.
That song is one of the best sounding records I remember from when I was a kid. Yeah.
That being said, I'm not a big fan of the Strokes. I've not heard anything they've done that I've liked. Mark, we've talked about this.
Yeah, my son-in-law loves them.
I know he does. Yeah, I look forward to debating him on this.
Yeah, I've listened. They have some really good. They had a couple hits, like songs that are on the radio, and those are good. I do have trouble sitting through a whole album, but maybe it's just not our generation. Maybe it's just a whole different thing. Yeah.
Why not?
Well, do you have another one, Lou? Another one-hit wonder?
One-hit wonder? No, I had my two. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I've got to do
Tap City.
I've got to do. I have to do a public service announcement because, we're broadcasters. So this is a public service announcement about bicycle safety.
Bicycle.
It's an actual PSA about bicycle safety.
Bicycle.
Okay. This is real.
Let's look serious.
Yeah, I broke my toe on my Peugeot.
I sprained my neck on my trek.
I chafed my thighs on my Specialized.
I chipped my tooth on my mongoose.
I pumped my hooter on my scooter.
I fractured me chin on me Schwinn.
I banged my coochie on the frame of my Fuji.
I impaled my tail on my Cannondale.
I tangled my in my kryptonite lock.
But we each live to tell it, 'cause we all wore a helmet.
That's an actual bicycle safety public service announcement.
I like that.
From Eastern Europe somewhere. Where was that
No,
from?
that's American. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think they did say coochie. Am I correct? There was a coochie or was it
did,
coochie?
Yeah.
Okay. Just want to clarify that. Always wear a helmet. When you drink a lot, always wear a helmet.
Yeah. I think we got to start wearing helmets on the show.
I think so. I think it's called the William Holden drinking helmet.
Otherwise, it could be a...
It can save lives. Think about the future. Think about your loved one.
Yeah. Oh, wait. We have to, Lou, we have to do some news, right? Yeah. Let me see if I can find my news intro here. Let's see.
Dead air, dead air.
Dead air.
Dead air, dead air, dead air, dead air, dead air.
Dead air, dead air, dead air, dead air. Let's see. Albert Hammond. Walk this way.
Going to another network if you don't get the news going. I'm a in-demand news broadcaster.
You're a what?
We're selling copies of Lou's notebook. It's a copy, not the original. They will be $60.
No,
each.
you know who wants that notebook.
You got to battle Scott for it.
Yeah, yep. All right, let's see where I'm going here. Here we go. Ready? Well, I found the intro to
And now, Music Relish News with Mark Smith.
Hello! Welcome to Music Relish News. Very brief tonight. This week, Dolly Parton says she's hoping to reunite former Led Zeppelin members Robert Plant and Jimmy Page for a new rendition of Stairway to Heaven. Now, she had covered the track on her 2002 album Halos and Horns, but it was a bluegrass-style version. But in a new interview with Polestar ahead of her induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which she tried to decline and they wouldn't let her decline, she said she wanted to deliver a more faithful version. So she says, when I got nominated, I thought, why not just go ahead and do it while the iron's hot? So she has plans for a rock album, and that's one of her big plans. I'm thinking she'll get them to... I'll be surprised if they don't do it. She's royalty.
Yeah.
she is. Yep.
Don't say no to Dolly. In fact, Dollywood is now a cool place to go. Yeah,
Dollywood, yeah. Gatlinburg.
Yeah. Gatlinburg, Tennessee.
Yep.
Not too far from me. Well, that far.
That was a rap. Gatlinburg, Tennessee. Not too far from me. That's better than Jack.
Tennessee. Not too far from me.
Better than Jack Relax going to kick some gluteus max. I mean, that was just bad.
Yeah. But
so
back
anyway,
to music news with Mark Smith.
You know, see if the album comes about, but that's what she's saying. I think that was her saying it meant she wants to get them. It depends if Robert and Jimmy are getting along. We just don't know, those two. So
do they not get along generally?
They piss each other off. They are friends to the death, but they piss each other off. Jimmy was really mad when Robert went to a full tour with Led Zeppelin. He was incensed, but Robert knew he couldn't keep the vocals up for a whole tour. That was a one-off. So
yeah, and you know what? You guys having a lot of money too.
Yeah. But
do you have to do this?
Yeah, for the last 5 years, I said for the last 5 years, Jimmy Page has been saying, I've got something really big coming out. It's going to blow your minds. I'm so used to this from Jimmy Page. He's done one solo album in all the years since Led Zeppelin broke up. So it's like, I'm not holding my breath for anything from him.
He's done one solo album. Outrider
is a great album. Really good album. Worth listening to. It's got Chris Farlow on vocals, an old blues singer from England. He does a version of Hummingbird. Really good. Highly recommended. Oh, shoot. That should have been one of my recommended albums to you guys. Well, the cat's out of the bag.
I'm up this week.
Yeah, I know. Right, that will be in the future. Plan on.
I'm curious about your pick.
Okay, moving on. Don't get so sad. This is really going to bum you out. Motley Crue has announced that guitarist and founding member Mick Mars is retiring from touring. The statement from the band, published by Variety, noted that Mars' retirement was due to his ongoing painful struggle with ankylosing spondylitis, AS. The statement further clarified that Mick will continue as a member of the band but can no longer handle the rigors of the road. And then, I don't know if you knew it. I mean, we all know he's a lot older than the other guys in the band.
And I know he always had hip problems or something like that, right?
So, he was born in 1951, though some have questioned the accuracy of that year. I'm thinking 1931, but anyway. His original name is Robert Allen Deal, and he's 7 years older than the oldest other crew member. Okay. But I'm surprised he lasted as long as he did. You know what? The guy, give him a break. I mean, he was out there playing. He's in pain.
So who's going to replace him?
They announced, I'm dropping the ball on it. They did announce a replacement on Eddie Trunk's Twitter page. He congratulated the guy. So obviously he's been around, but I'll check into that. I'm a horrible newsman, aren't I? Horrible.
Not at all.
Yeah, I am. I'm Albert Brooks.
You were up for the Edward R. Murrow Award.
But they are. It's interesting that they did it.
Broadcast excellence.
Yeah, I'm broadcast fabulousness. That's what it is. Yeah. So anyway, they just did a tour with Def Leppard of the U.S. and it was so successful that they're going to do a world tour with them. So hey, they're making money. Yeah, that's what it is. Try to get out there. All right.
Play music. the music whenever you.
I just saw a thing on television before we came on the air, and it was Def Leppard in Vegas.
Yeah, I got that. I got that DVD.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
no, that's an old one. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how long ago it was, but they couldn't thank the people enough for, and they're all tossing guitar picks.
Yeah.
And I think the drummer, and I'm not trying to be funny, he brought out a drumstick and gave it to one of the crowd members.
Yeah.
You can throw a lot of drumsticks with one arm. You don't have to throw one. You grab a whole bunch. You have a stick back.
No, but I'm just saying, he didn't throw it. He walked up to the front of the stage and handed it to someone. Yeah, you can't do that anymore. You'll get sued.
Don't lose an eye.
My eye.
Yeah,
but I still got one good eye.
Yep.
Eye. All right. And then another little thing about Def Leppard. My son has one of the funniest jokes. I mean, you've all seen what Joe Elliott, the singer, looks like lately. So I'm watching the Vegas show on some streaming channel, and I was liking it. I have a soft spot for him. Anthony walks in the room, and he just goes like this. There's a face looking at the screen. He goes, "Dad, he looks like every Irish housewife we see in ShopRite in Pearl River." It's true. He does. He really does.
Wow. How old is old Joe now? About 62?
Yeah, because their first album came out in 81.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. And those guys didn't take care of themselves for years. They abused themselves.
Well, they had a run in Vegas. They get paid a lot of money when you're in Vegas.
That's what everyone does.
In 1982, I was a substitute drummer in a battle of the bands in Park Ridge, New Jersey. The band's drummer almost lost his finger in a car automotive accident. And I had to learn one of those. It was Bringing On the Heartache. I had to learn that song for the battle of the bands.
Great song.
We won.
Really?
Yeah.
That was the song that made me realize, I didn't know about Def Leppard. I heard that. I got High and Dry, their second album. I heard that song, and I go, this is a really good song.
I never liked the drum sound with that Snuff Garrett drum sound.
That's Snuff Garrett.
Mutt Lang. Mutt Lang. Yeah.
No, I didn't, Perry. I agree. The drum sound was terrible. It was just. It didn't sound like a snare drum. It was 1,000 pounds of glass off a building.
Yep.
Yeah.
Where are we, Mark? Do we have more news?
Got one more sad story for you.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. I got walls, guys, so don't, Jerry Lee Lewis, the hard-driving rockabilly artist whose profound boogie-woogie piano and bluesy country-influenced vocals helped define the sound of rock and roll on his hits like Whole Lot of Shaking Going On and Great Balls of Fire, has died. He was 87. I mistakenly thought he was 93.
All right. Well, you know what? He lived a long time, man. He's pushing 90,
Yep. And interesting, I read this little snippet. He suffered through the last few years from various illnesses and injuries. Doctors say he should never have made it this far. They said he abused his body so much in his middle ages that he shouldn't be around. So he was a strong guy. He made it strong.
With what? Drinking and smoking? No.
Yeah. Drinking makes you strong.
Yeah.
Hellraiser.
And now he is spinning on Satan's rotisserie in hell because he believed he was going to hell when he died for a whole bunch of shit. He was not the greatest person in the world.
Let me ask you guys a question. Now, you guys, can you recognize this riff? I'm going to play a riff for you. Can you recognize it? It's an acoustic.
Neil Young,
right?
Yeah,
I would
Neil
think
Young borrowed that riff from the Everly Brothers. Walk Right Back from the Everly Brothers.
I think it was a tribute.
That's the Everly Brothers. He borrowed that riff from the Everly Brothers. Sonny Curtis wrote that song, by the way.
Shouldn't that have been in the barred riff section of the show?
What's that?
That should have been in the barred riff section of the show.
I forgot because I'm coming across it now.
Do I got to put my picture between you guys again?
I'm coming across it now. So
that's to keep us away from each other, Mark.
But you recognize that riff as "Harvest Moon" by Neil Young, right?
Absolutely.
But that's the Everly. Sonny Curtis wrote that song. Sonny Curtis also wrote. He was in the Crickets at one point. Sonny Curtis.
After Buddy Holly died.
Yeah, but he wrote some songs that Buddy actually recorded too, like on an album, not big hits. But he wrote the Mary Tyler Moore song, "Who Can Turn the World On with
Really?
Your Smile."
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Sonny Curtis wrote
Sonny
that one too,
Curtis?
and he also wrote "I Fought the Law" and the Law Won. Yeah, Sonny
Wow.
Curtis wrote that one too,
Wow.
Yeah.
and he wrote this song, "Walk Right Back," for the Everly Brothers. Neil Young took that riff and turned it into Harvest Moon. Yep.
Wow.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Who had the big hit with "I Fought the Law"? Who was the first hit with it?
Joe Strummer.
No,
Rock
it
and
was
Roll macabre story. It's a great macabre story for Halloween.
yeah. I can't. What's the name?
Bobby Fuller
Bobby Fuller. Yeah. Yep.
of the Bobby Fuller Four.
The Bobby Fuller Four.
Whose
Yep.
brother thinks his father was murdered by contract with the Manson family.
You had mentioned that in you had mentioned that in the past. You know.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Yeah.
That's right, we do.
Right.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right, we do on the Music Relish podcast.
Podcast.
Oh.
Oh my
Fright
God!
night.
Who
It's-
the hell cares?
What do we have, Svengoolie here tonight? Come on.
Svengoolie. It's Fright Night on the Music Relish podcast.
It's Fright Night.
So
Shit.
I think we have
Now
to
what
do
are we
Mark's
up to?
album reveal, don't we?
Yeah,
What
you know
about
what?
that? What about my producer segment? Is it too late?
Oh, Don
I have-
Dixon. Don Dixon.
I'll tell you what.
Right? Yeah.
I'm going to make
be
him.
quick.
Can I make a motion? No.
We're only at $1.45, man.
You're
We
out
got
of line,
time.
Senator. You're out of line.
We
I was
got
gonna
time for
say,
all this, man.
We could hold the review till next week.
No.
Two albums.
Let
Okay.
Lou do just Don Dixon.
I want to hear Don Dixon.
Yeah,
That's
I want
what
to hear Don
about.
Dixon.
I
Yep.
want to be schooled by Lou.
Oh, Don Dixon.
Look, he looks like the guy on the cover of Kansas Left Overture with his book. Carry on, wayward son.
Don Dixon. He's a producer, musician, songwriter. He is most known for producing a lot of early 80s jangle pop. He co-produced with Mitch Easter the first two REM records, Murmur and Reckoning.
Mitch Easter.
Mitch Easter was of a band, Let's Active. They're from North Carolina.
I've heard
Don
of
Dixon
Mitch
was
Easter.
born. Yeah, Don Dixon was born in South Carolina.
They both worked at drive-in studios, right?
I was at Mitch Easter's drive-in studios. He's a bass player for most of his music career. He was the bass player. Apparently, he was in a band called. He went to UNC in Chapel Hill. He was in a band called Arrogance, which apparently was one of the biggest unsigned North Carolina bands. They put out 6 albums. So he was not unknown when he became a producer of note. So in 1982, Mitch Easter of the band Let's Active approached him about co-producing REM's first record, Murmur, which we discussed as a debut record, is a perfect record. It's an indie rock
record.
classic. It is like
Perfect
it's the
circle.
Born to Run of indie rock albums, as far as I'm concerned. Whatever, But he also produced their follow-up, their album, 1984, Reckoning, which is a great record. Now, Perry and I talk about this record where I love the music. I do not like the production. It was supposed to be a raw record, and it is. I just think they could have done raw in a different way. But the songs are great. It's got some of REM's most iconic songs on it.
Songs are fantastic.
Yeah, they really
mention-
are. 7 Chinese brothers. It goes from 7 Chinese brothers to Don't Go Back to Rockville, South Central Rain, I'm Sorry.
Okay. I'm sorry.
So that was Don Dixon and Mitch Easter production again.
And Mitch Easter's on this first 2 records. So
Was Don Dixon the engineer, or was he a co-producer?
he's listed as co-producer on the second record. Both Mitch Easter and Don Dixon are credited as machinists. That's the microscopism. They engineered the record, so I think they did dual purpose stuff there. I think they both engineered it and mixed it. He also has a solo career too. He's done solo records as well. I had his early 90s record called Romeo at Juilliard. It was interesting. I could see where my take of it was. It's a real fan record, but you could see by the diversity of his solo record, the only one I had, that how he could produce this many diverse acts. He did things like originals that was almost Elvis Costello-like. He did a song called Who Let the Cat Out of the Bag, like a jazz thing, almost like a show tune. He's extremely musically diverse, which makes for a great producer because he can bring in all those elements. When he sees a rock band, he says, I can add this touch to it. So he's one of those guys with a big set of ears, I would say, and Mitch Easter too. So he also produced Reckoning, Dead Letter Office. He had something to do with the eponymous record. He had a long association with the Smithereens, which I forgot about. So the Smithereens were that indie band from New Jersey that made it kind of big.
Yep.
The first record, Especially for You, he produced that. So he produced 2 debut albums of rock artists that were really great and influential and really, really friggin' cool. R.E.M's Murmur and Smithereens, Especially for You. He produced the second album, Green Thoughts, by the Smithereens, too. Another great album. The Smithereens' first 3 records are great. Then they went kind of arena rock with like Ed Stasi in production. Like he might have produced Eddie Money, but the Belinda Carlisle song. But the first records are very indie rock, retro indie rock. He also some of the Smithereens records are hysterical. He produced Green Thoughts, the second record. He produced A Date with the Smithereens, Attack of the Smithereens, God Save the Smithereens.
I love that.
From New Jersey, It Came, the Smithereens Anthology, and he produced an album by theirs for 2011. Some of his other production credits include a band called, this is a great name, if you're a cartoon fan, Snagglepuss. You remember Snagglepuss?
Mm-hmm. Snagglepuss.
Exit stage. Snagglepuss, Ethan. He produced Chris Stamey. Perry Chris Stamey was of the DBs, I think.
Yep.
Yep, of the DBs.
North Carolina boy. Yep.
North Carolina. Yeah, so there's a North Carolina collection. There was part of the whole Winston-Salem 80s indie scene.
Yep.
The Sponge Tone.
SpongeBob?
Produced them. SpongeBob. James McMurtry, the American singer-songwriter. His father was a novelist. I forgot what he wrote. Like, there's a Robert Duvall movie that Lonesome Dove, I think. Larry McMurtry was the writer of that. His son's
Isn't James like a country singer?
McMurtry. He's an Americana singer.
Oh, I'm thinking of somebody else. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Don Dixon also produced Let's Active, which is the band that Mitch Easter was in that they co-produced R.E.M. together. He produced Hootie and the Blowfish. We circle back to Hootie. I don't know what he
just went down a notch.
He
gave the world
Carolina
Hootie.
Connection. Yeah.
Don gave the world Hootie.
Write me a check. Right. He produced Guadalcanal Diary. That was an old indie band. I remember seeing them associated with R.E.M. Pretty cool. He produced the Gin Blossom, which is up there with Silly Band.
Yeah.
Right.
Good pop band, though.
Good pop band, yeah. He produced Fetch and Bones. That's an Athens band. Very, very obscure indie band. This is a great name. I don't know who they are, but the name is great. The Fabulous Knobs. Mark, I think you'd like this.
I think I had some in
not the dirty knobs.
No. I think we may have run cassettes at CPI in Hillsdale of them. That is very familiar.
Really?
They were probably on a label we handled.
Cool. Wow, interesting, nice. He also produced a band called Dump Truck. I've heard them. He produced Marshall Crankshaft.
Oh yeah.
He had an album called Marshall Crankshaft. Mary Jane and Her 9 Sisters. He produced Kim Carnes. Beat Rodeo. And, I mentioned his solo record. But the one thing I read I didn't know about, he was this close to producing Nevermind by Nirvana.
Wow.
Yeah, and he asked for I read an interview, he said, either me or my manager asked for too much money. And they said, wow. And Butch Vig,
I think I saw Beat Rodeo somewhere in like the Ritz or the Lone Star or somewhere like that. I think I saw Beat Rodeo. Yep.
And I'm very offended that Lou won Fabulous Knobs, and he said, Mark, now come on. Now I'm very offended that I thought of anything but the Fabulous Band. We might have to save this record review for. Oh, wait, he's coming back. You're doing a good job bringing him back, Perry.
Is he
He's
here?
here. I see him. He's figuring it out. And he's going to come in. Lou! We got Lou. Let's see if he comes back. I wish we could do, Perry, I wish we could do listening parties on the show, because that Rundgren album would be the best listening party.
The Something Anything?
Yeah. We're just not in that elite music, hierarchy where we can play anything we want. But I got to tell you.
Well, where were we? We were about to start your album review.
Yeah. And if we get Lou back, we should start it before we lose him again. and it looks like he's coming back. So I'm very hopeful. This is like when the headlining band is late and you got to come out on stage. You got to go. We're almost there. How you doing tonight, guys? How you doing? You good? Oh, that's Mark Maron. You good? You okay?
Yep.
You okay?
Well, let's see if we can find him.
By the way, you know who Mark Maron had on his show last week? Ron Carter, the legendary jazz bassist. I haven't listened to it yet, but Ron Carter.
Really?
He was in Miles Davis's quartet. He's huge. He's huge. And I got to listen to it. I want to hear Mark interviewing a jazz legend, because Mark can interview any musician. He's really good at that. Musicians and comedians, that's the best he's with.
Well, let's I think we should roll on with your album review, Mark.
If you want
Mark's album reveal.
Yeah, I should have read the whole article on Jerry Lee Lewis. It would have taken us an hour.
Well, we're pushing 2 hours now as it is.
Well, I don't know. I'm thinking, I just want to say, if we don't get Lou back and we hit 2 hours, I think we should save it and do 2 album reviews next week. I don't think people would mind that. What do you say?
No, we're not reviewing an album.
Are you going to recommend an album to us this week?
I'm going to recommend an album.
Okay, so if we don't get Lou back in the next minute, I propose that we review 2 albums next week. I am a robot. I hate to tell you that. I'm the only robot that can drink wine. But if we don't get him back, because, the joy of this is everyone's take on it. One person likes it, one person hates it.
This is getting my
He's back.
He's here. He's here.
Fucking
Yep.
back.
Okay.
My God, the aliens.
So what were we about to do? We were about to do Mark's album reveal.
Maybe we should do it before we lose you again.
Maybe we should just do Mark's album reveal, right? And
do it now.
Have you got him queued up, Mark?
Yeah, so I asked you guys to review or listen to Wildwood by Paul Weller. And just really quick, if anyone doesn't know Paul Weller, he was with the Jam and the Style Council, and this was his second solo album after disbanding the Style Council. So, the first song on the album, I'm already losing it. First song on the album, called Sunflower, and I'll just do a snippet here. I got to get into the drums, because drums are key to this album.
Great riff.
And then, I just restarted it. Anyway.
That's a great riff with a great production and, right?
So, go ahead, you two. That's the first song. By the way, first song I ever heard from Paul Weller, because my good friend Steve Flanagan, when I was working at CPI, said, you got to listen to Paul Weller. He bought me the CD. I popped it in. That's the very first song I ever heard from him.
My first impression?
Yeah.
After hearing 2 songs, I said, I want to be his drummer.
I knew it.
It's nice. It's nice to hear a record where you can actually hear the drums.
Yeah. Not only that, the guy is really good, and I can tell, it sounds like in my imagination, Paul Weller's saying, do what you think you need to do. If there's anything wrong, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
And the guy did everything friggin' right.
But they know how to record drums too.
They know, yes. They have it's a great natural sound. It's kind of dry in some ways. I noticed there's more reverb on the vocals. I looked up the drummer, who he is, and he's, interesting background on the drummer. But not only that, you said last time when we talked about reviewing this record, you said, Lou, the drums. And, this guy can play, but it's soulful, it's rock and roll, but he's not being shy. It's grooving.
And it's still English. He comes in behind the beat.
That's just the drummer.
The fills are behind the beat.
Yeah. He's not rushing, but some of those fills are fast. Yeah. There's some fast playing on here, but he's in control. He's in control of his tempos and everything else. But I mean, that was just the first thing in light of what you mentioned. But the record is really good. It's a really good record. It's a great record.
How about the second song?
Okay.
Can You Heal Us?
Crystal words that ain't so fine. No stop is falling, cooling faster all the time.
Yeah, it's got heavy fuzz on it, right?
Yeah.
It's got nice piano, nice sounding piano, and it's got like heavy fuzz on it, doesn't he? On the guitar,
Boom, psh.
There's
On
like
the chorus,
heavy fuzz.
boom,
Yeah,
boom, psh,
yeah,
boom, psh, boom. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
hooks
Yep.
it right in.
yeah. I like the electric guitar, which is mainly played by Paul Weller,
Yeah.
right?
Mm.
Yeah.
There's a lead guitarist on the record, though, but I think he plays. It's not like him playing all that rhythm stuff. I would think.
Paul did.
There's a nice organ
He
on it.
played
too.
most of the solos on that album. Yeah, that was him. There's another guitarist
Oh, really?
live. He's
Okay.
got a guitar player that handles a lot of the solos. But yeah, on that album he did most of it. Mind you, you talk about the sound of the drums. Remember I told you I dropped out of music in the 90s mostly because I hated the sound. CDs came out and they sounded horrible to me. This sounded like this. The first thing I heard was, this sounds like vinyl. It sounds like the 70s. And what's amazing is Paul Weller, Jam, and the Style Council. Then he's doing an album that sounds like 70s American soul rock, which was just awesome to me, you know?
I was hearing some late 60s, even some of the English stuff like Procol Harum and Blind Faith. I heard some kind of like the more earthier influences on that record.
Yeah.
What about
Great
the title
sounding
track?
Title track, you know,
Wildwood,
originally wasn't one of my favorites, but it's one of his most popular songs in England.
Yeah, I know. That was one of the singles from the record too. I think that in the title.
Yeah,
and,
yeah. So let me show.
The first song were the singles.
I like his acoustic.
Jazzy.
songs.
Love the harmonics.
Yeah. Nice chord changes. Yep.
High time, mid-afternoon.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Yep.
But incidentally, early on in his touring career, that was the final song. He would do it over 2-hour show, and that was the last song. That was always the set closer. So after he had all this heavy, fast, whatever he's doing, all the stuff he's doing, he'd just come out and play some nice, relaxing Wildwood. And Lou, it's Wildwood as in the tree, not what you think, okay? I'm getting back at you for the Fabulous Knobs.
Not that South Jersey amusement park band. That's considered one of his best songs, but I thought when I heard the whole album, I'm like, it struck me as an odd single to push.
Yeah.
As opposed to other songs on the record, but
well, you know what? It's your first listen, and same thing. I thought that, but then years later, like I get it, you know. And in England's a whole different music scene, so people react differently, you know. So.
Right.
Well, let's bypass the instrumental.
Yeah, by the way, the album
all
is
the pictures
interspersed
on
with
the wall.
these instrumentals, which
Yeah.
this is kind of like
These
he did it
little-
on his first solo album too, and Style Council did that a lot too. I like it, but it's not
Yep.
worth, you know. Here's an interesting little cut called All the Pictures on the Wall. Good drum intro.
Yes, there is.
All the pictures on the wall.
Yep.
Only to remind you of it all.
Great is acoustic in there, but it's
Great acoustic, great
great
drums.
arrangements.
Yep.
Yeah.
The drumming's very, in my mind, very Levon Helm-like.
Good point.
With those grace notes, and it's a very earthy sound. I mean, it's a kind of almost like up on Cripple Creek groove. I know Paul Weller writes a lot of mid-tempo, not unpleasant sounding, romantic laments.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's a lot of things about love, you know, lost or something, or just kind of.
Yeah, he's mature. Yeah, he's not the 22-year-old in the Jam.
Total
anymore.
180 from
exactly.
the Jam. Yeah.
Yep.
He was going there with Style Council, but they were more blue-eyed soul, you know.
Yep.
This song,
Good
song called "Has My Fire Really Gone Out?" It does have a good jam on the album, but live, the jam is just crazy. It's good.
Yeah. And does he play harmonica in there? Or somebody plays harmonica in there?
And if I open my eyes, will it there be morning? First rays of summer sun coming down.
I can't make it to the middle, but where it goes, dan, 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 ban out. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
It's also another great drum intro.
Yeah.
I love that thing he does.
Yeah.
It's great. And then this is one of my favorite songs on the record.
It's great how it morphs into that little jam at the, in the middle,
Well, you mentioned the jam. It's like a psychedelic guitar jam. Yeah. He said it would change his life.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He just does it a lot more extended.
Yeah.
And again, the next song, what is it called?
Country. And
it's like him. I love Paul Weller acoustic songs.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. So here we go.
Yeah. That's great.
Almost reminds me of Zeppelin.
English,
yeah.
Keyword, English.
British.
I know a place not far from me, where life's sweet perfume fills the air.
By the way, talk about a smoker's
Yeah.
voice. That is a total smoker's voice he's got.
It's good though.
Mm-hmm.
It's good.
Now,
yeah.
No, go ahead, Lou.
You guys are more familiar with his work than I am. I know some jam stuff and a little bit of style council. The soulfulness, his alleged soulfulness, does come through the whole record.
Yeah,
it does.
As a singer, and even in some of the chord progressions, it's not faux. It's not, it's very genuine.
Yeah,
very
his
genuine.
love for Motown and all those kind of things are.
It's not it's not copying.
They're
it's not
prevalent.
parodying, but it's definitely he has absorbed it and done it well.
Yeah, very personal. That's what gets me, by the way, about this album. I think what besides the sound too, it's just a very personal statement. Here's Paul Weller, the great Paul Weller. In England, he's ranked up there with McCartney. He's huge in England, and he puts out this album that the first album was good too, but it was a little connected to Style Council. This one, he just laid it bare. It was him,
Now, how about the next song, Fifth Season? Has that great organ in it.
It's almost
and great background vocals,
almost progressive. Drums again.
Oh, yeah.
Love is raging inside my head. But with this heartache, such
Good stuff.
Yeah.
This song had to grow on me. At first, I said, it might be a filler track, it might be an album cut, maybe it is. But the first thing I wrote was those drums. It's weird. There's a familiarity to the song. I can hear Gary Brooker from Procol Harum singing it. That's the English thing there. I could also hear a weird thing. Like I could see this could morph into Van Halen's Mean Streets at one point. There's a certain groove thing in a weird abstract way.
Yeah, I hear you.
If Van Halen ever wanted to do the song more as a straight funk tune, they could have done Mean Streets, which is one of their best songs from that album we were talking about. But yeah, this is a song I initially dismissed it kind of, I came back and said, it grew on me.
Well, it's not a short album. It's kind of a long album. And the first time I heard it, I agree with you. I know what you said because I'm playing the album. So a lot of these big songs really stand out. And then some of these songs, these are the ones that you get into later, because you've got bigger epic songs,
Yeah.
Now, how about the Weaver? To me, that's like a rock song.
Yeah.
The Weaver.
Absolutely. Yeah.
back home. There's different places. Of all these people from just different places. And if you can't succeed, what will you achieve?
Just basic raw rock and roll.
Yep.
And he plays that to this day. That's part of his set list. Kind of connected right to the older stuff, Does Lou approve the drums?
Now,
I think that this was the lesser song on the whole album. If there is a filler cut, to me, this was the one. I liked it, but I found myself kind of wandering away a little.
It's like a rock and roll. It's like what you would live. You're thinking live. I got to have these songs, play and
Sure, yeah. It's not.
Now, what about
bad.
What about
It's
Foot
not
of
a
the
bad song on
Mountains?
the
Well,
record.
listen, just real quick, when we talk about the instrumentals, throughout the album, these little things come up, which I really love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is my opinion, his connection to Style Council, because Style Council had a lot of that kind of sounding stuff.
Yeah. Yep.
By the way, Lou, Steve White was in Style Council. He was the holdover. Paul Weller kept him.
Right.
Wisely.
Right. And his brother Alan White is a drummer from Oasis.
Yeah. Not the Alan White from Genesis. I mean, yes.
No.
Oh,
or the
that was a serious mess up.
Or the Beatles.
What about Foot of the Mountain? It's the acoustic song. Sounds really British.
Now, this is
to me.
acoustic
Nice.
here.
Yeah.
Live, it's a hard driving electric sound, but yeah, this is wait, auto rotate. Okay.
Like a dream on the ocean, always drifting away.
It's an epic.
Very mature.
The epic.
Very
Yeah.
mature.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think it's mostly completely solo too. I think there's still maybe some keyboard or some stringy things at the end, but I think it sounds like mostly a solo acoustic.
Now, live,
It's a good one,
live,
too.
he gets his Telecaster and he starts banging the chords out. And when he goes into it, the drums come in. And it's really heavy live. It's a whole different arrangement live. So, next up, Shadow of the Sun, that's the jam song. That not jam is in the band, but that's the song that goes off the charts. Drumming.
This song's very rhythmic.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I was thinking of another song, but. That's the song I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Shadow of the Sun. Yep.
So, I was saying it does it's a great pop song, and then it morphs into this nice little jam.
Yeah. Does he have a song called "Moon on Your Pajamas" or something?
Wait, about that song, it almost morphs into like a dream pop jam. I think the whole song up to that sounds like it could have been a Bad Company song.
Good point.
Bad Company could have had a hit with that.
Interesting.
It's one of my favorite songs on the record.
Yeah.
I give that one a little extra.
Oh yeah, and
I like the jam at the end too.
And live that jam is pretty intense. We'll skip the Holy Man reprise because it's actually what he does Holy Man, but then he incorporates another song into it too. Yeah.
Now, when I heard this one, this was my favorite of the instrumental passages. And when I heard it, I heard Curtis Mayfield in there.
Mm.
And then when I looked up Paul Weller, it said Curtis Mayfield was one of his big solo.
Yeah.
So
I'll play a snippet.
Nod to that.
Yeah, you can hear Curtis Mayfield all over that.
That girl singing.
Yep, almost like a pusher man or something.
The girl singing was his wife at that time. She was also over the first album. She sang with Style Council. So keeping it in the family.
What about, is there a Moon on Your Pajamas or something?
Dreamy song.
Yeah, very slow song.
Yeah.
Kind of jazzy.
End of the evening. Concert coming to a close. Very Style Council influence. In fact, I'm almost positive that Mick, the keyboardist from Style Council, plays on that. So
that's also one of my favorite songs.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Dig into the Style Council back catalog. There's a lot of songs that sound like that they did. Very just good, And that's he was an equal guy with the keyboardist, and they were a pair. They were really good. Last song is one of my top 3 favorite Paul Weller songs. This is an anthem to me. This is a pop anthem.
Yeah.
Someplace I can't remember where. found it just like coincidence. And now I'm all alone again.
Oh, it's so good. So good.
Yeah. So overall, what do you think, Lou, about the record overall?
2 thumbs up.
Yeah, I think it's nice. The drums sound friggin' great.
No, they sound great. They're not only the playing, the whole playing on the album. No, the drums aside, I was just digging. I mean, I can tell you, I was in the shower, Mark. I'm like, I want to be in this guy's band. The shower epiphanies are the greatest ones.
The
in the
production is great.
Many
the production is great.
The production is great. There's not a bad song on the record.
This is definitely his epic.
Yeah.
It's his best solo album.
Okay. Now, this is from 1993.
September 1993. Okay. It hit number 2 in the UK. It's no slouch.
Right.
So, and Q Magazine rated it 77 on the list of the 100 greatest British albums, which it's in the bottom half, but you can imagine what other albums are on there.
Yeah, right.
And incidentally,
it's also on
go ahead, Lou.
Yeah. There's the one book of the 1,001 best albums you have to have. I think it's on that.
Yeah, right, deservedly so.
I don't know who the author was. Yeah, I don't know who the author was, but it's
well, I'm a Paul Weller fan. It wasn't a hard sell on me.
So what I'm going to do is on the Facebook page, a couple of years after this, he put an album out called Illumination, which was really good as well. He did a free concert in Hyde Park. Came out on DVD. There's a YouTube link. I'm going to put it up on our Facebook site because you got to see him live. Now, that was when he still had Steve White in the band. I was crushed when Steve White left the band because he still sounds good, but he doesn't have Steve White behind him. Definitely, that concert has so much energy. It's just like it's seeing thousands of people. Like here, I saw him at Town Hall in New York City. That's the biggest place he's going to fill here, But in England, he could fill anything. So I'll put a.
Well, this show is running long, guys. We're not going to have time for Mark's album reveal.
Oh, sure. Just cut me, Perry. That's fine. I'm quit.
We're at 2 hours and 15 minutes already.
All right. You know what?
It's just because.
Here's my selection.
I broke my camera
to listen to.
I broke my camera.
It's Jay Farrar. It's called Third Shift Grotto. Third Shift Grotto Slack.
Oh, I thought you were recommending the other one. All right. What's it?
No, it's called Third Shift Grotto Slack. Jay Farrar. Third Shift Grotto Slack.
Okay.
It won't take much time. It's less than 15 minutes long. It's an EP, really, a mini album. There's 5 songs.
I'm hijacking your show, Perry. Ready?
I have.
Here we go. Secret Policeman's Ball. Electric Sun. You lie, John Roth.
I have some fluff.
Never do this to me. Johnny Winter. I forget the name of it. It's the 3-sided album. Never doing this to me again, Perry. Hagar, Sean, Aronson, Kenny Aronson.
Well,
Michael
for
Shreve.
some reason these shows are running long, man. I'm not saying why.
Jean-Michel Jarre.
I'll
redo these next week.
We'll redo them
and
next
look,
week.
I got your favorite album, Perry. 1999 from Prince.
Oh, really? The purple one. Yeah. Yep.
That's part of it. I have some fluff.
You know what?
I have a piece of fluff. One piece
the best
of fluff.
album cover of the 70s. Look at that.
Okay.
That's great. Look at that. Oh, my God. Oh, that's great.
Look at that butt. Get that off there. Come on, man. This is a family show.
What is the fluff?
Paul Weller played a guest guitarist and backing vocals on Oasis's Champagne Supernova.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's tight with Noel Gallagher.
Very tight.
They're tight.
That song, Hung Up, the last song, I have on the extras on DVD. He did it live acoustic with Noel on guitar.
I saw Paul McCartney being interviewed somewhere in the UK, and they were taking questions from the audience. And guess who was in the audience? Paul Weller and Noel Gallagher were sitting right next to each other, waving their hands, going, Paul, when you guys recorded Revolve, yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
All right, so let's find the closing theme, guys, all right?
That's
it.
I
like your fluff.
That's it.
Lou. Your fluff was good tonight. Have more of that fluff.
Yeah.
Let's find some closing themes.
I'm feeling happy. I couldn't even give a concert review for Steve Vai, but nobody cares.
Next time.
There's no better way to spend a Sunday night than with you guys.
That's right. Same here.
It's how I get my next day off of work.
And at some point, you're going to have to pay to watch our after party.
Yeah.
No, what are you
More
talking
laughs
about,
and
man?
thrills a minute.
Absolutely. It's the after party of the century.
We're talking ribaldry.
Oh, Ripple.
Rampant ribaldry.
No, we get bags of Ripple, that wine. We get rippled.
Sam Pipple.
In honor of my friend James Alston, book writer, Ripple. And James, if you're watching...
Well, you know what? We found Lou, our radar. We found Lou on radar, Mark.
We did. Good job.
What? What do you mean?
Well, you'll see it when you watch it.
Caught you floating down the river. Too much of that brown bag wine.
Yep. Music Relish Podcast.
What's the name of the song?
gmail.com.
That's right.
And
Milk Crates and Turntables. Scott McLean, Jack Calabrese.
Again, if you
Great
like
show.
what you hear, people, please click subscribe if you're on YouTube or Facebook. We couldn't do it without you.
Yeah. We're on Spotify. Check us
Yes.
out. Like and subscribe.
The technology on this show is just amazing. Oh.
You cut out once and I cut out
Look,
twice.
Keith Richards says goodbye. Keith Richards says have a good night. That's my buddy back there.
Does he really?
Yeah.
Good thing. It's a good thing we have no. It's a good thing we have no bobbleheads.
Got a hole in his head.
Is that it?